What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
4AC. Chapter 71 Divine Power Integrate, Rule is Born. Advertise here. The power of Asgard is in my hand. These. Forget it, let's treat it as mosquito meat. Sif and those Asgard warriors don't need to care at all. It's really too weak, insignificant, his body can't feel the special divine power above. Yes, just an Asgard will. Thor's power of Thor has been absorbed by Eileen's cells. He could clearly feel the power in his body. If I get this power, does Asgard still have the power of thunder and lightning? Where did Odin find the new power of the thunder and lightning? Eileen is a little suspicious. If not, does it mean that Asgard will no longer have Thor in the future? With one hand open, a stream of white light flashed across the palm of the hand. Thunderbolt. Weak lightning bolts dance in it. Ahem. Embarrassed, Eileen clenched his fist and wiped out all the lightning. It's too weak, even though Eileen who just integrated this supernatural power can already control thunder and lightning. But this intensity is too low, I know it is lightning. But if it is seen by other people, they think it is electric current wire. Open black lens bracket. You are already familiar with the control of thunder and lightning, your cells integrate power of the thunder and lightning, you have an epiphany. You have comprehended the lightning law, close black lens bracket. Lightning law. The method of thunder and lightning practice can control the thunder and lightning in the world, can incarnate thunder and lightning, can evolve thunder and lightning, the justice of thunder 08 and lightning will annihilate all Xiao Xiao. The power of the thunder and lightning can integrate more divine power. Close black lens bracket. Clenched with one hand, Thunderbolt blessed Eileen's fist this time, and this blow seemed to be stronger than before. Integrate more divine power to find the basics of divine power. If I can find something more suitable for me. If you have divine power, what would you feel the most about? Thunder, curse, speed, force, metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Eileen leaned on the recliner and began to think, finding her own way is the most important thing. You must have a fighting style that suits you, and you must like it. Although this power of the thunder and lightning is good, but Eileen always feels that something is missing. And this. Another power was brought out by Eileen, this is the power of Mephisto. Curse. Eileen doesn't like this thing very much, although facing the enemy with one finger, I curse you 4x. It really has the feeling of, big curse, full of force. But this is not in line with Eileen's will, what he prefers is heart-to-heart battles, and the thrill of punching to the flesh. Let's integrate first. Close your eyes, integrate this power into your own cells, after a little bit of integration. Eileen has mastered a little bit of curse power. Similar to the power of the thunder and lightning, Eileen can only use a little bit of simple curses when first contacted. Practice slowly. With a heaven-defying understanding, Eileen is not worried about the improvement of the cultivation method. It is the most suitable situation when things are ripe. Eileen. While he was thinking about this, a figure descended from the sky. Eileen looked up, and then saw a person in a white tights fall down and threw himself into his arms. The recliner fell backwards, and after hastily controlling it, the two of them did not fall down. As soon as he helped her up, Gwen was already completely lying in his arms, and the two were close to each other. Feeling the heartbeat of the person in front of her, Gwen's heart obviously calmed down a lot. Are you all right? Seeing her flustered look, Eileen couldn't help asking. Well, I'm just worried about you. Gwen nodded. Then, she raised her hand and dropped her mask directly. First throw yourself into the arms, then the corners of the lips meet. Love me, Gwen murmured, and the kiss between the two became more presumptuous. I can feel that the other party is really worried about me, maybe because I am afraid that something will happen to him, but more. Eileen noticed that the other party's heart was obviously restless, and she didn't tell herself something. But Eileen didn't ask, and didn't say that it means she can still solve it now, and when she can't solve it, she will take the initiative to tell herself. The focus now is on the warming up of the relationship between the two. Cough cough. Suddenly, a cough sounded from behind, interrupting their kissing. Gwen is like a cat whose hair has been blown up, or a hamster whose food has been interrupted. Jumped up on the spot, Thomas turned around in midair before landing on the ground, then moved a few steps with a flushed face, and hid behind Eileen. Standing up, Eileen twitched the corners of her mouth and turned to look at her father, Jin Bin. Is there something wrong? It's nothing, I just found someone at home, I'll come and have a look. Jin Bing spoke indifferently, as if it wasn't his cough just now. Behind it, Vanessa looked at the scene in front of her with a suppressed smile. Spider-Man. Gwen. Immediately after Vanessa recognized Gwen, she was obviously surprised, and her eyes lit up instantly. Although you are at home, you should be careful. Jin Bin seemed to be teaching a lesson. But Eileen doesn't like him. Be careful, are you kidding me? Who didn't pay attention just now? If it wasn't for my own sense of humor, would you believe I would knock on your door? HMPH, I know it myself. After all, I'm not like someone. My body is getting stronger and stronger, but the time is getting shorter and shorter. Eileen glanced at Jin Bin, and muttered in his mouth. By the way, Dad, I also have a medicated bath here, which is specially used to invigorate the kidneys, do you want it? What did you say? Jin Bin exploded in an instant, turning into an existence like a dynamite bag, pointing at Eileen and about to curse. But Eileen didn't give him this chance, grabbed Gwen's hand and disappeared instantly. Brat, Jin scolded unhappily, and dared to say that his time was short. Is this what my son can say? Am I short? Dissatisfied, she asked Vanessa behind her. Go away. Vanessa rolled her eyes when she heard Jin Bin's question. Then he pulled Jin and was about to walk out. Where are you going? Buying something for your daughter-in-law. This meeting doesn't even have a gift. You're ashamed. Ah, Jin Bing was taken aback. This. Still want to give something. I don't have this habit. Besides, he doesn't think Ai Li is a single-minded target. Ai Li who teleported away didn't know what happened at home, let alone the meeting gift. There is no such custom here, but it did exist in her previous life. Maybe Vanessa knew that Ai Li is Asian, so she looked at these customs specifically. You just have bad intentions. Gwen looked at where she was, and the emotion in her eyes had been fully revealed. They're at the beach house right now. Ai Li casually found a perception of Chi and teleported. He didn't notice that the two of them actually came here. The sluggish maid looked at Ai Li who suddenly appeared, a little at a loss. Leave first. Ai Li said. Yes. The maid turned and left. Don't think this maid is simple. The person responsible for taking care of Jin Bin's family is not an ordinary person. All of them have passed the loyalty review and baptism of the medicinal bath, and their physical strength is almost the same as that of ordinary Esir clansmen. Take up a weapon to be a warrior, and put down a weapon to be a follower. Otherwise, Ai Li would not be able to recognize the strength of the opponent's chi, and then move here instantly. After she left, the villa was completely empty, leaving only Ai Li and Gwen. 773 embraced Gwen, and Ai Li rushed towards the big bed. At the last second, Gwen cobweb shot out and flicked down the big curtain switch in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows. The scenery outside was slowly covered. Another shot changed the lighting, and in an instant, there was only a small wall lamp in the hallway left in the whole room. The dim environment made the whole atmosphere warm up. Ai Li didn't pay attention to her movements, and directly stepped forward and lowered her head. Woo. Although it was not the first time to do this, Gwen only felt that she lost her mind in an instant. The two of them had the surprise last time, and there was no so-called embarrassment or conflict. It's just right when the love is strong, and the meaning is strong when the love is full. Clap 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 clap. At the same time, there is another seaside villa not far from Ai Li's seaside villa. Tony Stark is shirtless, with fists on his hands, pumping non-stop towards a sandbag. He also discovered that mere mechs are not enough, he also needs physical fighting skills. Only in this way can you have a greater advantage when fighting close to the enemy. It's unbelievable, there are so many mysterious existences besides human beings, that guy. Tony recalled what he saw, except Ai Li's fighting power. He also saw Mephisto from Hell. He also received an invitation from Nick Fury and the video inside, the Hulk banner, the mysterious Asgard battle. Tony, would you like a drink? Pepper's voice suddenly came from the door. Tony didn't turn his head back, and refused bluntly. I need to make Pepper stronger. Oh, some little chilly Peppers who lost interest responded casually and turned away. Clap 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 clap. In the basement of the villa, only the sound of punching was left. Chapter 72 Meeting Iron Man for the first time, dating routine with Gwen. Advertise here. Mr. Stark, I found a piece of information that you may be interested in. While Tony was hitting the sandbag hard, the voice of Jarvis sounded. Explain. The villa on the edge of the cliff not far from next door is owned by Jin Bin. According to the information, the occupant of this villa is Ai Li Fisk. So, Tony didn't pay much attention. It's just a villa, even if it's the other party's place of residence, it doesn't make sense. Because everyone who knows a little bit about Jin Bin knows that their family lives in Manhattan. This villa can be regarded as a vacation place at best. There are villas that don't live like this but are cleaned, and Tony has several of them himself. Just now the traffic surveillance showed that all the maids and security personnel of this villa left together. According to my analysis, the possibility of Ai Li arriving and living in this villa is as high as 80%. Oh, now Tony is interested, the other party has already entered the villa. Within a kilometer of your residence. Do you want to touch it? Tony said to himself. I think it is necessary, according to the survey, that progress can only be made if you communicate with a stronger person. Mr. Tony Stark. You're right, help me check the monitoring in real time. They'll tell me as soon as they leave the villa. Good master. The night passed. Ai Li and Gwen are resting on the bed. Turning his head to look at the deep Gwen beside him, the Spider-Man's mask was still half pulled on the other side's head. Seeing Gwen fall asleep, Ai Li also casually fell to the side, carefully recalling what happened in the past few days. Her sleepiness increased, and she fell asleep like this. When he closed his eyes and fell asleep, Gwen beside him opened them. Looking at Ai Li strangely, she felt that she couldn't stand it anymore. The other party's strength was beyond Gwen's expectation, she couldn't help feeling a little suspicious. Can I really get the love of this man 100%? If I can't satisfy him, can he still be like this? Under drowsiness, the cranky Gwen also began to feel dizzy, and finally fell asleep. When the two woke up again, it was already daylight the next day. After changing their clothes, the two left the villa affectionately, and drove towards the city. Ai Li doesn't use flight and teleportation, and the daily life is more interesting. Although various powerful means can reduce some waste of time, only the lifestyle of ordinary people makes them feel more like individuals. It's as if Gwen has the power of Spider-Man now, but she is still working hard to go to school and learn the knowledge of school. The vehicle had just driven not far away. Ailey tapped the brakes slowly to slow down. Because just in front of him, a man was driving an Audi R8 slowly on the side of the road. And the other party is very arrogant. The road here is not like that in the previous life. On this kind of Yangpan trail, there are only one way and two lanes. The other party is driving on the center line at such a leisurely speed. Ailey really can't pass, so he has to slow down. Seeing that Ailey's car was slowing down, the other party also leaned to one side, then opened the hood and looked at Ailey. Tony Stark, what's the matter? Ailey recognized him at a glance. For a while, the other party was a frequent visitor on TV. And he was on the cover of all kinds of lace news reports and magazines. It seems that any magazine that doesn't capture the other party's shots and put them on the cover will have no sales. The existence of this guy is even more maverick than Musk. Ailey, nice to meet you, are you interested in chatting? Tony showed a big smile. Definitely there is. Then let's talk. An envelope was thrown on Ailey's car. Gwen lifted it up and took it in his hand, and put it next to the car's gear. Tony Stark glanced at Gwen unexpectedly, then stepped on the gas pedal. The buttocks of the Audi R8 twisted back and forth, and the sound of high horsepower sounded, as if a violent bull sped away. Show bag. Gwen glanced at the other party's movements, and couldn't help giving a comment. Puff. Ailey laughed out loud upon hearing this. If Tony knew her comments, he would be absolutely pissed off. But it is true. The opponent's car is definitely not bad, but in front of the poison opened by Ailey, the price has dropped a lot. Although the opponent's car has been modified by Tony, it cannot be measured by price. But from Gwen's point of view, this act of highlighting her own differences, stepping up the accelerator pedal and deliberately oiling the floor, is really a bit of a child's style. An invitation to a charity gala. Gwen opened the envelope, and inside was an invitation letter, which indicated that Gwen knew him and had seen it from his father before. Many people will attend the charity gala held by the mayor of New York from time to time. A charity party. Ailey glanced at it and frowned when she realized that it was the time of this evening. What's the matter? Don't you want to go? Gwen couldn't notice, and asked a little strangely. It's not that I don't want to go, but that I don't have time. Ailey shook his head. His original arrangement was that he had something to do today, and he had already communicated with Jin Bing. Tony Stark said to talk. He thought it was now, but he didn't expect it to be tonight. It seems that I can't go. You're not going. But his invitation. You go, help me to the scene, I will arrange someone to follow you. Ailey didn't care, it was just a charity party and he wasn't interested. If it was a one-on-one meeting with Tony, he'd probably go check it out. But that kind of boring socializing, coupled with the actions of local companies squandering money to buy some garbage in order to get government support, is meaningless. It's not suitable. Gwen was confused on the spot when she heard that she was going. She has never been to such an occasion, and her father, who is the director, has never taken her. What are you afraid of? After I go, anyone with eyes will know that you are my girlfriend. People from the Fisk family, who dares to show face to you? Still, you plan to be my underground girlfriend and never show up for the rest of your life. Ailey teased Gwen, since she is in love, she should just show it openly. Ailey is not a good person, but he is not a scumbag either. He shrinks back even when he is together. Definitely, if he has other girlfriends in the future, he must get Gwen's consent. It's not. No. At this time, Gwen suddenly spoke with a gentle smile, which made Ailey almost lose control of the steering wheel. What? No. Nothing. Gwen replied hastily. What she just thought was that Ailey is getting stronger and stronger, but she has been standing still. In the future, Ailey will become stronger and stand at a higher position. Do I still have the qualifications to stand beside him with my current strength? This is why Gwen has been a little depressed, and this situation is likely to occur, not because of her wild imagination. Don't worry, you are definitely my most important thing. Ailey noticed that she was absent-minded. Although she was not sure why, it must have something to do with the relationship between the two of them. Putting a hand on Gwen's, Ailey gave her her own affirmation and comfort. They found a well-known restaurant, and Ailey took Gwen to a good Western meal, although he was not satisfied. Boring one dish after another, changing to the next dish before tasting anything. After a process, I can't get enough to eat at all, and it's mainly a sense of ritual. I'll take you to Chinese food next time. The portion is the most important thing. This Western food is really boring. After 2 bites, one dish is gone, and you have to wait a few minutes for the next one. Waiting is boring. Unsatisfied, Ailey gave the tip and walked out, saying that the Chinese food is good. Gwen listened curiously. She knew that Ailey was Asian, so she must know something about Chinese food. But if you eat enough Chinese food, won't you get fat? You are a Spider-Man, are you afraid of getting fat? Ailey was stunned. She is a Spider-Man, what body issues does her energy absorption care about? Ordinary food may not be able to Jiao satisfy the opponent's energy acquisition. Could it be that this is a woman? It's also possible to gain weight. Do you know the importance of body shape for women? Gwen said swearingly. Or, even if I become fat, you will still love me like you do now. Then definitely, am I the kind of vulgar person who looks at my figure and beauty? Ailey immediately said affirmatively. For his words, Gwen just laughed it off. Don't be kidding, at this time a man's words are fart, and the real hell is to believe it. Gwen is very aware of the importance of her figure, not only because she is afraid of gaining weight, Eileen doesn't like it, but also because if she gets fat, what about the Spider-Man's clothes? Everyone has a love of beauty, and she also wants to look beautiful and wear nice clothes. By the way, I will teach you a set of cultivation methods later, which is about obtaining nutrition from food, so that you can absorb food to a greater extent. That way you don't have to worry about eating too much at one meal, and you don't have to worry about getting energy. Chapter 71 originally had a lot of content, but unfortunately it was blocked after uploading, which caused me to delete a lot. If some places look weird, it means that I deleted, and changed sentences. Some it's like this every day. If there is a disagreement, I will be banned from driving. Chapter 73 Attack on Hydra Base. Advertise here. Back home, Eileen is a little tired now. Gwen transformed into a Spider-Man, which improved her strength, but learning ability is still the same as before. How to say, smart, but not that smart. The phagocytosis method is to absorb the nutritional effect of eating to the greatest extent, and absorb every nutrient by the body without wasting it, so as to enhance the extraction rate. If there is no such method, in terms of Eileen's current situation, it is normal for him to eat a meal for several hours without stopping. The strength of the physical body is doomed to the efficiency of eating. For example, some people obviously have more than 100 kgs of strength, and they eat a bowl of rice with some meat to supplement carbohydrates. Eileen thinks they are gods, and eating is not necessary for them. Even the rumored Bigu period is because those beings can obtain the energy necessary for the body from other places. Gwen's progress in learning this devouring method is very slow. Eileen narrated it several times from beginning to end, and with his help, Gwen also knew what cell strengthening is, why people become strong and so on. As it stands, Gwen has made some progress, but not much, because her mental body can't detect her physical body at all, and she can't look inside, either. All she can do is to simply strengthen her control over her body. She needs the understanding of chi. Without high-intensity comprehension, her progress can only come little by little. Headache. Next time I have to teach her how to study. Suddenly Eileen was a little envious of Jin Bing. Jin Bing's ability is really powerful. I just explained the principle and the corresponding situation to him. Jin Bing started to study on his own, and then asked questions if he didn't understand. Now he has understood the concept of chi, and can use it flexibly. And he is also very good at reviewing his subordinates. The people I'm looking for are all capable. Under his guidance, I taught a few subordinates 547. Then those few people went offline to continue teaching. Back and forth, now there are more than 100 people in the entire gang who know how to use chi. Compared with this group of people, Gwen's progress speed is indeed much slower. Or is it that I only have the heaven-defying understanding of cultivation, and I don't have the ability to teach others? Or is it that in this kind of cultivation, it is easier to understand women as emotional creatures without men's rationality? Eileen fell into self-doubt, otherwise why Gwen's progress is so slow. How about finding a chance to teach Gwen to someone in the gang? Do it tonight. Jin Bing looked at Eileen's arrival and asked. Since we want to do it, we need the first time. One day has already been wasted. Giving them another day to live is already a gift to him. Eileen did not forget the main enemy this time. The Hand in Society is just a group of killers. They took the order and came to assassinate Vanessa. And it was Hydra who actually placed the order, and the damned guys were behind it. This time can be regarded as the first show of a member of the gang. Jin Bin nodded, and there was really no need to delay. That night, a passenger plane took off from New York Airport, and all the people in it were Jin Bing's subordinates, and everyone had good combat effectiveness. The destination of this plane is Sokovia. There is no need to transfer directly. What? There is no direct AICB to Sokovia in New York. It does not exist, because this plane is for special use, and it was originally purchased by Jin Bing himself. As for flight routes and border crossing procedures, Nick Fury handles everything. All the approvals that Nick Fury is very savvy are done by himself, and the reviewers who received the news were blinded. I can't help but start to question whether Nick Fury's identity is true or not. How can a department chief do these things himself? And Nick Fury didn't explain. After finishing everything, he sat in the office and looked at the computer screen. The computer screen was pitch black, and there was nothing on it, but he was still waiting. This is his deal with Jinbin. Jin will promise to show him the fighting power of his men this time. As a price, Nick Fury made his own judgment after watching it, whether to join Jin Bing's organization. Instead of becoming a leader in the past, it is like a person who supervises and guides. Jin is not very clear that he is just a gangster leader. He has no experience as a leader on the stage. There is no pressure to systematically sort out a gang gold, but what if it is bigger? When they rush out of the earth, can Jin Bin still control so many existences all the time? So he found Nick Fury, the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. surrounded by Hydra. Upon hearing the other party's proposal, Nick Fury only felt that Jin was not joking. He wants him to resign as the head of the country, or even the World Security Council, to join your gang, give you money and serve as a military advisor. But when Eileen's strength was revealed, Nick Fury hesitation. If I don't go, no one can stop this group of guys even if they attack the whole world, right? If he goes, maybe the other party will make some moves, and he can persuade him. Nick Fury is an agent leader, aren't you afraid to play off? Eileen turned to Jin and asked. This black one-eyed mother is not a good thing to provoke Frank Shaw. Definitely, his goal from the beginning to the end is indeed to ensure the safety of the Earth, which is not to be blamed. But if the other party joins the organization, maybe they will move some thoughts that they shouldn't have. Then, I'm afraid, after all, his vision is still on the earth, and we. Jin Bing looked at Ai Li, the appreciation and admiration in his eyes were all revealed, and he didn't hide it at all. Our goal is the Sea of Stars. By that time, he is still helping us defend the base on Earth, but we are fighting for hegemony in the universe. Good guy. Ai Li called a good guy. Looking at Jin and suddenly realized that his adoptive father seemed to be a bit of a godfather. So that's what he came up with. I found an agent leader to help guard the house. As for his twisted thinking, when we dominate the universe, no matter how well he develops, he will be able to shake the sky when we come back. Jin said disdainfully, the cigar in his mouth was full of domineering. Then Ai Li patted the other person on the shoulder, and the whole person disappeared in an instant. Appeared again, they had already stood in a forest. In front of him were more than 100 gang members who had come by plane before. Ahem. The sudden teleportation made Jin Bin startled, the cigar fell aside and coughed a few times. Seeing his subordinate standing in front of him sternly, he didn't bother to complain about Ai Li's teleportation without reminding him, so he looked serious. Everyone, target the Hydra base, let me see the results of your training during this time. Those who are injured, those who have no record, all go back to practice. Jin Bing's attitude is very serious, and he is definitely a very qualified boss in front of his subordinates. Yes, do well, I'm watching you. He raised 2 fingers of his right hand to his own eyes, and Jin Bin pointed at them again, as if my eyes could see through everything. Following that, their massive attack began to cleanse the Hydra base. Are you sure he's still there? Kim asked. This base is what Ai Li told him before, it is one of HYDRA's fixed bases. But the problem is that after Ai Li's battle on Neon Island, these guys are so cunning, they should have evacuated long ago. Who would hide in the base area all the time, and wouldn't hide when he knew that the enemy's powerful strength could destroy everything? People have 2 hearts, one is greedy and the other is unwillingness. Hydra is also human, they have their own cleverness, they just think they are well hidden. Don't want to give up this nice base and hope that maybe we won't find them. Ai Li gave the answer with a smile. He originally thought that these guys would evacuate, but he didn't expect them to be so brave. At this point, I dare not disperse, but wait here in a group to keep warm. It seems that Hydra is not very smart. Jin replied after hearing this statement. As a gangster, he knows very well that when the enemy is too strong, never hold on to hope. He never had such a clever idea. Because the enemy who can push you into this situation will never be stupider than you. Hydra has been in this position for so long that they have long forgotten how dangerous they were as dirty bugs in the sewers in the first place. It's fighting. Halfway through Ai Li's speech, she signaled that there was a reaction ahead. Jin Bin also looked at it, and the positions of the 2 of them were changed to a slightly higher place, covering the entire forest and base in his eyes. The enemy's defensive circle is not bad. Before a group of people entered the range of the base, the outskirts of the forest were ambushed. Many soldiers wearing combat uniforms and holding hot weapons started a defensive battle, and the bullets attacked all of a sudden. It really brought a lot of trouble to Jin Bing's men. Unfortunately, these people are not ordinary people. They will use chi, and also use chi to fight and defend. The only bad thing is that because they didn't have the energy to fight on this kind of battlefield, they were in a hurry for a while. No wonder Jin didn't want Nick Fury to intervene, did he want that guy to train this group of subordinates and exercise their combat ability? Meanwhile our majestic Falcon is smashing wildly in the office. Because he has already recognized the base that this group of people attacked. Isn't this the secret base of his Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency in Sokovia? When did it become Hydra? Chapter 74 Sudden Development. Destroy the base, seeking monthly ticket automatic subscription. Advertise here. He thought Jin and asked him to go to Sokovia for approval to go to the Hydra base. Nick Fury didn't think too much, just thought that the Hydra base was nearby. But he didn't expect that the opponent was attacking his SHIELD's base. Jin Bin, what the hell are you doing? That is my secret base, the training center for SHIELD talents, and the training base for agents. The call got through, and while Nick Fury was looking at the screen on his own monitor, the images transmitted from the devices carried by several of Jin Bing's subordinates. While roaring towards Jin Bing, he felt that the other party did this to give himself a blow. Don't you want to see the strength of my Jin Bing subordinates? Then I'll take someone to your base, sweep it for you, the special agent chief. My gold and my subordinates will attack you as a base, simple and simple. Look at the show, your base. It has long been Hydra's base. Jin Bing's voice came from the other end of the phone, and Nick Fury was stunned, a little unbelievable. Are you serious? If it's not Hydra, if I made a mistake, I'll go back and pay you a ton of medicinal bath. The phone hung up, Nick Fury slumped on the seat. If the other party can say such a guarantee, it is almost inseparable. At their level, there is no need to lie about such things, it is meaningless, and it is very unpopular. Has your own agent training base become a talent transfer base for Hydra? Isn't this a big joke? To fight Hydra, the organization that maintains world peace, and finally tell you that you have been working for Hydra. Hee hee. Nick Fury gave a absent-minded laugh, a little dumbfounded. Nick, things are in trouble. Suddenly at this moment, his office door was pushed open. As director, who else could do this? Only the previous director, Alexander Pierce, could have done it. In 2 or 3 steps, he ran to Nick Fury's side and was about to speak, but Nick Fury spoke out first. I already know. Knew. Pierce was startled, and glanced at the screen on the monitor. Is this the screen of attacking Sokovia? Wait, why is Nick Fury looking at the attacker's point of view? He received a message from Baron Strucker that someone was attacking the base, so he rushed over immediately. After all, that base is ostensibly the base of S.H.I.E.L.D., and he wants Nick Fury to send someone to help. But did not expect this scene. Pierce's right hand slowly reaches behind his back, where a small pocket pistol rests on his waist. He thought he knew what Nick Fury said, referring to the fact that Hydra was hiding in S.H.I.E.L.D. Knowing that Alexander Pierce is also a Hydra thing. If you can't, just kill Nick Fury, it's a pity that I picked it up. I didn't expect that Hydra would be so powerful. It turned Sokovia's base into their base, which was beyond my expectation. I'm so confident. Nick Fury opened his mouth with a sigh, then pointed to the screen. Pierce, I think we need to get serious about letting Hydra infiltrate. That's right, we can't go on like this. Pierce withdrew his hand. It seemed that the other party didn't know his identity, which was a good thing. As long as you know what's in your mind, I'll go back and explain it to the World Security Council, otherwise they will definitely misunderstand. After speaking, Pierce turned and left. Nick Fury sat on the chair blankly, with a mouse in his hand for a long time. The screen of attacking the base disappeared, and what appeared instead was a surveillance screen. Seated is Nick Fury himself, apparently from his office. Then pull up the progress bar, and instantly switch to the arrival of Pierce. Walking to his side, he stretched out his hand to pat his shoulder, and touched his waist with the other hand. The picture paused, and Nick Fury laughed as he watched Pierce immediately grab something around his waist. Hydra. Pervasive. With a sigh, the reason why Nick Fury didn't immediately expose the opponent is simple. Even Pierce is like this, how many of the current S.H.I.E.L.D. are our own? If he jumped out directly to catch the traitor, he might be the first traitor to be executed. Natasha Romanoff, Hawkeye, come back. After informing the two high-level agents, Nick Fury looked at the whole of New York from the large French windows. We, and Captain America. After finishing speaking, Nick Fury hesitated for a while, finally sighed, and said in a low voice. Forget it. My Carlos is more reliable. Oh, their technology can do it. Jin Bing looked at the subordinates who had already broken through to the base, and was a little surprised. They couldn't really break into the base. There are quite a few weapons hanging above the base, machine guns and howitzers are all standard configurations. These weapons also allow a group of people to only expand their chi to defend, resisting the enemy's bullets. The most important thing is that the opponent also activated something like an energy shield, the defense power is amazing. After they approached, they wanted to resist these bullets while wearing shields, but they couldn't break through them for a long time. It is not easy to break through the shield that has been continuously transmitting energy, and it is rare that even a small hole will be filled in an instant. Li also noticed it, raised his hand and pointed a finger at the base, and the energy gathered. Etc. Jin Bing pressed Li's arm with one hand to make him stop, and then showed a big smile. I come. Seeing that he had an idea, Li didn't make a move, but stretched out one hand to signal for him to come. Jin Bin snorted coldly, and then his eyes were serious and solemn. The hands are placed in front of the body and retracted a little bit, and then placed on the side waist. Whenever his hand stretches back a little, the energy of Qi gathers there. This short effort really condensed a Qigong bomb with a good file size. According to this posture, it should be no problem to destroy a small energy shield. Li was a little surprised at Jin Bing's progress. This is already able to use Qigong wave, it is worthy of Jin Bin. The physical strength of the opponent originally is very exaggerated, but after training, he can become the #1 fighter. With a height of more than 2 meters, more than 90% of his body is made up of muscles, so he can easily punch through a wall with his bare hands. It is enough to see how powerful his training ability is. 0. Seeking flowers. This kind of physical body plus the effect of the medicinal bath is making rapid progress. If such a person has a strong ability to learn, once he starts to practice, it will be terrifying to think about it. Coincidentally, Jin Bing happened to be a thoughtful and intelligent existence far beyond ordinary people. So his current combat power. Gold and Qigong wave. While Li was admiring Jin Bing's fighting power, Jin Bing suddenly shouted. A Qigong wave the size of a basketball file was shot out by him, directly bombarding the energy shield. Rumble. The huge amounts of vibration caused the energy shield to shatter completely in an instant, and the energy to be filled could not be replenished in time at all, and the overload would fail immediately. Those hot weapons above were also cease-fired by this attack, unable to output. Seeing this, the subordinates immediately broke into it and started the random killing mode. Everyone is fighting with all their strength, and will never let go of any existence. If there is no merit, they will go back to practice more. There are no professional trainers in the gang, all the training is done according to the way of the previous gangs, it is hell. 0. Extra training. That's terrible. Excellent. Li commented next to him and gave him a thumbs up. What he commented on was not only the opponent's Qigong wave, but also the name. Gold and Qigong wave. It's interesting. Dad is still very childlike. I've wanted to shout it for a long time. Jin Bing was not embarrassed at all. There is no embarrassment for outsiders, he has always wanted to try this attack method, but unfortunately there is no suitable opportunity, it is rare today. To sum up, it is much easier to use than my own scepter. It's a pity that he still can't use it as he likes, and he can't concentrate on one finger and release it like Li. Otherwise, when Jin Bing thought of standing in front of the crowd and facing the enemies in the universe. A finger points at the opponent, and then energy bursts out from the index finger, and the opponent is blown to pieces by his own whole wave before he can react. Seeing his strength, the rest of the people immediately fell to their knees and begged for mercy, shouting, Emperor Jin Bing. Hiss. Just one word, handsome. Hee hee, ha 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 ha. Ai Li twitched the corners of his mouth when he heard the trance and smirk next to him. When did Dad become like this? Was it after Vanessa's death and resurrection? Or earlier? But this is pretty good, the atmosphere of family relationship is better. And he also has a train Dad to be your number one thug. Well, it seems that the notes on my phone need to be changed. From number one underground thug in New York to number one thug in the universe. Is it weird that other people raise little Lolitas in games like nurturing games? Isn't it weird to raise money by yourself? What's wrong? Ai Li suddenly fell into deep thought. One is caught in the thought of doubting life, and the other is smiling cheerfully. This atmosphere didn't last long, and the voices of his subordinates came and interrupted them. Boss, there are a lot of people who seem to have been arrested and haven't had time to brainwash them. Do you want to kill them too? Boss, killing this imprisoned person counts as a record. Chapter 75 Quicksilver and Wanda, in the bag. Advertise here. Keep it. Jin Bin immediately broke away from his fantasy, seamlessly said to his subordinates. These people were all caught. They must have the ability, otherwise they wouldn't be caught by Hydra. Maybe he can be trained as one of us. Ai Li also nodded at the side. Being seen by Hydra must have its own advantages. Although they are a villain force, they are similar to street rats. But it's not what everyone wants, trash definitely doesn't like it. As Jin Bin said, there must be some specialties. Ooh, I got it. The subordinates responded when they heard the boss's words. However, there is a sense of pity in this tone. Presumably, there should be some people who have no achievements yet, so they wanted to make a splash, but they didn't expect it to count. Seeing that they were almost killed, Jin Bing and Ai Li also walked towards the base. This time is considered an experience, not too difficult for these subordinates, but this is the first time they have formally acted in this way of fighting. Nothing but good for them. When the two of them arrived at the base, the subordinates had gathered all the people together, scattered dozens of people. Most of them looked a little thin, even in ragged clothes. This part was imprisoned by the 533. But the remaining few found that they didn't have to worry about food and clothing at a glance, because they had a lot of belly. HMPH, Jin Bin. Suddenly one of them gritted his teeth and looked at Jin Bin, and said with hatred in his mouth. This time you won, but what? What the hell is a prisoner getting hard? Jin was not used to him, so he stepped forward and kicked him in the face. The whole person flew upside down and hit the wall, a burst of smoke and dust rose up. In midair, the other party's teeth were decaying, which looked extremely miserable. His subordinates hurried over to grab his arms, trotted back, and continued to press on the ground. Kill me, hee hee, Hydra, cut off a head, grow. Puff. Jin Bing's displeasure is really not to be tolerated this time. It would be nice to give you some face and not kill you, but you dare to be presumptuous. Raise your hand to play a normal version of Qigong Wave, which is weaker than the previous one, lighter in power, and faster in speed. With one blow, the opponent is killed directly, and the brain is completely doubled without a chance to appear. Long. I see you have two heads. After Jin Bing finished speaking to him, he looked around. Sure enough, the subordinates looked at him with admiration. They haven't learned this trick yet. The release of Qi becomes a Qigong Wave. This move is very difficult to learn, and you must have enough merits to redeem it. Jin Bing felt joy in his heart. It was this feeling. Kill this little Lala in front of you. His powerful Qigong Wave is naturally enough. But it wouldn't work if it was a stronger one. At that time, we couldn't be so presumptuous, otherwise it would be embarrassing if we didn't kill him all at once. This person is now powerful enough, but it is also suitable. Where's the boss here? Isn't his name Baron Strucker, sir? And a baron, I'd like to see how good he is. Jin Bing asked his subordinates. Before he came, he specifically ordered that the leader of this base not be killed yet, but interrogated. Boss, this is Baron Strucker just now. One of them replied hastily. Puff. Ai Li just laughed out loud. Daddy is just pretending too much. Seeing how round you were this time. Jin Bing was taken aback for a moment, killed himself. This one in front of him. It's different from what he planned. Is this the boss, Baron? But after all, Jin Bing traveled all over the world. He was a younger brother and a big brother. All the embarrassment dissipated in an instant, and he spoke without haste. Hydra, that's it. No wonder you only dare to be a mouse in the ground. As soon as the words came out, the subordinates nodded one after another. The boss was right at all. They also couldn't believe that a leader of Hydra, with such power. When attacking the base, they were still a little cautious, for fear of capsizing in the gutter. But I didn't expect that when fighting with him, the opponent would take a weapon and spray at them. The key is not to spray bullets and flames, but to spray glue. Almost killed them with joy, directly killed them with one blow and took them down. Seeing that there was nothing wrong with his subordinates, Jin Bin turned his head and glanced at Ai Li. The expression in his eyes was full of, don't laugh. Ai Li withdrew his gaze and was no longer entangled. It's a pity to die so easily. Jin Bing said regretfully. It was Hydra who asked someone to assassinate Vanessa, and he planned to torture these Hydra leaders. But I didn't expect that I accidentally killed him directly. The rest should be killed. Make sure to bring them back to the headquarters without any problem. Jin Bin waved his hand and began to arrange. A dozen or so people are responsible for determining the identity of the other party, and the rest are to start moving the materials for this base. Anyway, it is also a big training base, there are quite a lot of valuables in it, and some of them are impossible to buy even if you want to buy them. Name: Pietro Maximov. Age: 18. And you, name: Wanda Django Maximov. Age: 18. Such a coincidence. She is my younger sister, we are a family. The person in front who had just registered information hastily said. Etc. Ai suddenly heard the movement, interrupted the inquiry, looked at the two people for a while, and then spoke. What's wrong? Those two stay. Ai pointed to two of them and said. The subordinates followed the instructions and brought people to Ai's side, and then went to do their own things. Jin Bing looked curiously. A man and a woman, both young. As for the man, he looks a little thin and not tall, and he is malnourished. The female is better, but she is also a little weak, her skin is fair, and her stature is not short. Because the other party's head is lowered, she can't see her face clearly, but when she looks at it from the side, she can notice that her facial features are also three-dimensional, and her chestnut red hair color is also very special. How should I put it? Jin Bing gave her evaluation as beautiful, very distinctive, exotic style, full of charm. Then I took another look at Ai. How good is this kid? It's not bad, you have a good eye. But you still have to be careful, don't catch fire in the backyard, and there is Gwen at home. Also, don't let your mother know, you know Vanessa's temper, she can't accept this kind of two-footed. Jin Bing said a few words to Ai softly at the side, then turned around cheerfully and left. Ai has black lines on his face, what is this guy talking about? Although Wanda is indeed beautiful, how should I put it? Even more beautiful than the one he saw in the movie played by Elizabeth Olsen. There is more than one level of beauty. But Ai is definitely not a big scum. What are you going to do? I'm my brother, if you want to move, move me. Quicksilver Pietro saw Ai's gaze on Wanda, and hurried forward to block his sight. He raised his head high, staring at Ai as if he was an enemy. The subordinates around noticed this scene and were ready to do it, but imagine seeing Ai standing there and going back to do his own thing. Just kidding, the young master's strength can't handle these two. Quicksilver seemed to know that his threat was useless, and was a little anxious. I'm my older sister, and he's my younger brother. Come to me if you have anything to do. I can promise you anything you want. I only have one condition, let my brother go. Wanda took a step to block Quicksilver's anxiety, then looked at Ai. Lifting his head for the first time, staring at him firmly, the red magic power in his eyes flashed past. Windless and automatic hair rises slowly. At the same time, traces of magic power appeared in her hands. This look is like a fight against Ai if there is a disagreement. Siblings are affectionate. Ai couldn't help but said when he saw this scene. Then they looked at each other with interest. Did Hydra hit you? Beat. Have I ever hit you? No. Hate him. Hatred. I saved you, so do you hate me? Don't hate. Then you want to kill me so much instead of fighting them. This. Wanda was a little dazed, not knowing how to explain 4.4. Resist them. Will kill us. Resist you. Ai rolled her eyes and saw that she seemed like a good person, so she felt that she would not be retaliated against if she resisted. And Hydra. Not to mention, it makes sense, but it doesn't apply to me. I know that your siblings are a bit unusual, how about you? The strange magical power is a family inheritance. Ai looked at Wanda and asked, while speaking, his palms turned upside down, and the power of magic appeared instantly. When he shook hands, the magic power turned into a long sword and was grabbed by him. Wanda widened her eyes when she saw this scene, staring at him curiously. It was the first time she had seen someone with magic. As for you, Ai looked at Quicksilver. Pietro blinked his eyes and looked hurriedly, his head stretched forward involuntarily, wondering if he was also unusual. I haven't found out yet, but since you are her younger brother, it should be unusual. Huh, Quicksilver was taken aback for a moment, so, his own gift. Do you know my power? Wanda asked curiously, and then spoke again after asking. Then you want to turn us into your weapons. Chapter 76 Wanda. I will be your weapon. Seeking automatic subscription. Advertise here. Are you going to use us as your weapon? Wanda's voice is a little cold. In the past few years in Hydra, they are treated mercilessly like prisoners every day. And what I heard the most was that they would be used as weapons and trained to be like killers. In Wanda's view, Ai's purpose may be the same. When she said this, Quicksilver also quickly stood in front of Wanda, staring at him with extremely wary eyes, as if looking at a superior person. He touched the back of his head helplessly, the attitude of the two people. Well, it's normal. After all, I've been locked up here for several years. If I'm like ordinary people, I'll have problems. It is also the attitude of these two people that it is possible to live here without being successfully brainwashed. The two siblings hugging each other to keep warm are really pitiful. Don't you want to be my weapon? At least it's more valuable than staying here, isn't it? Ai followed their words. If he said that he valued Wanda's potential, and by the way, because he liked her appearance a lot, it would be good if he planned to stay by his side. Then he will definitely be regarded as the next Hydra by Wanda, and he will never let go of his guard. Yes, but you have to help us take revenge. Wanda replied. Nodding, This is normal, there is no problem with the process, and there is no problem with the personality. If you see Wanda, the attitude of the other party is very good, and then obediently listen to all her arrangements. Then Lee must have a wave of doubts, whether this Wanda is pretended by Black Widow Natasha Romanoff. No problem, tell me, enemy, I'll help you handle it. Lee responded casually. Stand aside with them. Lee is also waiting for the rest of the O8 to be dealt with. With Jin Bin and these people around, the safety issue is not a problem at all. But it didn't waste any time, and he had nothing to do, so he didn't rush back immediately. It was good to protect him. In case a few strong men come out to make trouble at this time, it will be really troublesome. Lee just destroyed one country and ruined half of another country. On the earth, there are people who are unhappy with him, and there are also many people who have thoughts about him. Such precautions are still necessary. Is your magic ancestral? The magic of a gypsy witch? While waiting, Lee asked. He remembered that Wanda's magic was obtained from the mind gem, but he didn't necessarily think about it. Although the movie said so, if Wanda didn't have any ability, how could he be caught by Hydra for experimentation? Even if it is said in the movie that she is the last person to become a test subject, and she succeeds in making Mind Gem respond, what about Quicksilver? Most importantly, that's the movie, this is the real world. Gwen can become a Spider-Man, Peter Parker can also become a Lizard Man. Then Wanda is not necessarily simply the Wanda of the movie universe. She has magic now, weak but real. Wanda was still a little cautious, pondering how to answer, and then thought of Lee's magic, and relaxed a little. That's right, it's a family of witches, all the women in our family can use magic, but my mother's ability is very weak, and there was an accident. Speaking of this, Wanda is a little sad and helpless. Lee knew about it, and died from a missile, and it was a missile developed by Tony Stark's company. Where is your magic? Is it also inherited from your ancestors? Wanda was a little curious. At this time, Quicksilver also looked over. My elder sister knows magic, but I can't, because he is a man, and men in their family don't have the ability of witches, only women are born with it. Why does Lee do it? Could it be that their families are different, their families only pass on males but not females? I learned it. Lee replied, two small curious eyes fixed on him. Learned. Can I still learn magic? Quicksilver was a little excited. Yes, magic is also a kind of energy use, as long as you know how to possess magic power, why can't you learn to use it? Wanda thought for a while, and it seemed that this was indeed the case. That's right, you're right, Quicksilver replied immediately, and then asked a little embarrassedly, can I learn? Maybe you can learn it. Lee answered with a look at him. This guy seems to have a chi in his body, but this chi is very weak, only a little bigger than ordinary people. And he still doesn't know how to use it. If you teach him, it can indeed be improved. But it's hard, because your ability is so. Lee thought about it and spoke again. This time, he used what he learned from the Ancient One library to watch him. Can become stronger. Magic ability is mediocre, you can only learn some common magic, fight is fine, pretending to be aggressive is no problem. The chat with the two little ones came to an end. With few words, no secrets were probed out. In fact, neither of them trusted Lee that much, they just subconsciously tried to get in touch. As for Lee, he knew quite a lot about these two people, so he didn't deliberately ask about some things. Kim and there are also resolved. A group of people almost dismantled the base without leaving any pieces of armor, and dismantled all the necessary things to take away. Then they found cars and transported them all to the airport. After seeing that it was almost done, Jin Bin walked back in front of him, waiting for his action without saying a word. What? Lee looked at him strangely. Send me back. You won't let your dear godfather, great adoptive father, the Emperor of New York fly back, will you? Jin looked at him with a look like you were joking. No. When you came here, you wanted to appear in front of others, and I will take you to teleport here. Lee said helplessly. Going back this time, there are so many things, and there are still many things to be arranged, Jin Bing will go with himself, so let's just ignore it. Go back and deal with things, as you know, the gang is very busy. Okay, he was just joking. It's okay for Jin to go with him, and it's not unusual for him to go back alone. Wanda and Quicksilver on one side looked curiously, what is teleportation? How do they get there without flying? Teleportation, is it the teleportation I was thinking of? Quicksilver approached his sister Wanda and asked in surprise. How do I know? Wanda said angrily, and then looked at Lee curiously, she was also quite curious. Is there really teleportation? Under the guesswork of the two of them, Lee put one hand on Jin Bing's body. The other hand reached out towards Wanda. Wanda was taken aback for a moment, and then saw Lee holding Jin Bing's shoulders, guessing that it meant contact, so she reached out and grabbed him. You too, grabbing your sister. Lee said towards Quicksilver. Oh. Quicksilver originally wanted to go over and hold Lee's shoulder, but it was not appropriate after thinking about it. After all, the other party is now his boss, right? So he obeyed the order and grabbed Wanda. Shua. In their eyes, it is really a brush. Then the scenery around them changed completely, and everything was the same as before. There is no darkness in the base before, no smell of blood everywhere, no dried blood on the wall. Some just cheese. Lee was taken aback, where did the taste come from? Behind Lee, there was a strange inquiry, buzzing. Quicksilver was the first to turn his head, and then he was so frightened that he fell limply on the ground, completely exhausted. Wanda blinked her eyes, curled up in her first reaction, and subconsciously hid behind Eileen 753. Peter, why are you so casual now? Eileen felt a little helpless after seeing the person who spoke. What he sensed was Peter Parker's chi, so he knew that he would teleport to the other side. I didn't expect it to change so much. How many days has it been? What about the muscular lizard man from before? What the hell is this fat man now? A fat lizard man. It's kind of cute, but it's weird. The boss told me to eat more and gain weight. Only in this way can it be easier to build muscle, otherwise the original weight will not be able to strengthen muscle in 10 lifetimes. Peter Parker made the cheeseburger rich in his hand. It makes sense. Eileen felt that this was true. Peter Parker was already very thin. If he wanted to become a muscular man, he had to accumulate fat and then build muscle. Otherwise, even if he exercises all his life, it is impossible to change from a skinny man to a muscular man. Even if he becomes a muscular man, he will still be a muscular man without meat. Reference to Steve Rogers before becoming Captain America. Who is he? Seeing that he was not attacked, Quicksilver slowly woke up and retreated, then asked curiously while being afraid. Peter Parker, a high school senior. Is this the third year of high school? I became like this because I was injected with lizard potion. At present, I can't control myself perfectly, so I have always maintained the appearance of a lizard. Peter Parker replied a little sadly. Since it became like this, it took more and more time for him to recover, and for this reason, he hadn't seen Aunt May for a long time. Had it not been for Jin Bing to help explain, Aunt May might have called the police long ago. I'm sorry. After listening to his narration, Quicksilver realized the cause and effect, and felt a little touched. The two chatted together after a while, and Wang Tian called here curiously. After more than an hour, everything that needs to be dealt with has been dealt with, and everything that needs to be arranged has been properly resolved. Eileen should get out of here too. Chapter 77A Visitor from the Universe, Egg. Scarred Tony. Advertise here. Sister, go with him, I want to stay here. Quicksilver Pietro stood in front of several people very seriously, looked at Wanda and said. I figured it out. Only by truly mastering the power can I become stronger and protect you, little sister. Just wait until I have the power. I'm my sister. Wanda interrupted him suddenly, and said helplessly. It's not important, sister. Quicksilver looked at Eileen. I hope you can take good care of her. Since you said you want us to be your weapons, then I will become stronger and become your weapons. And my sister, you can't touch him. Why do you think so? Eileen was a little surprised. Will become stronger so soon. Your personality is changing too fast, right? Pietro, the next level is about to start. Your character will be resurrected automatically, is it coming? In Peter Parker's room in the distance, Peter's voice came, both excited and anxious. Hurry up, if you don't come to the game, you won't have enough time for the game, you're slowing down. Here we come, Quicksilver shouted hastily, and then looked at Eileen. Take care of my sister. Go to hell. Wanda changed her face instantly and shouted angrily at Quicksilver, then stood behind Eileen without looking back, waiting for the arrangement. Seeing this, Eileen also shrugged helplessly. Teleport away with her. Pietro, who returned to the game console in the room, suddenly lost his motivation, and started playing with the game controller without interest. Even if he died, he was not so excited to say that he would borrow Peter a chance to revive coins. With a sigh, he walked to the back bed and sat down, staring out the window dully. He definitely wouldn't let Wanda leave alone so heartlessly. But from Peter, he knows what kind of person Eileen is in general. And Peter also showed him the report about Eileen, especially the intercepted video. Flying into the sky and escaping from the earth alone, he showed great power and destroyed a country. What kind of weapon does such a person need? Are you kidding? Quicksilver feels unworthy. And I also know that although this is a gangster, but the relationship is very good. I also know that Eileen has a girlfriend, and the relationship between the two is good. So he felt that Wanda would not be in any danger. Anyway, it would definitely not be the same as Hydra. As for whether it will push Wanda into the fire pit of love. Please, is there anything wrong with such a person being your brother-in-law? And he really intends to become stronger. He doesn't want to live a life where he can only be a family without respectable property because his sister stands in front of him. Here, it can help him become stronger. After he masters the powerful power, he can help his family to avenge. When the revenge is successful, Wanda won't be chanting that name all day long and falling into the obsession with revenge like now. Tony Stark, I will kill you with my own hands. You are Tony Stark. I am going to kill you. Wanda was teleported to a back garden by Eileen, and then she saw the person standing in front of her. She immediately became angry. This time, her appearance is even more exaggerated than in the Hydra base. The hair has changed from the original chestnut reddish to fiery red, which is extremely coquettish. By the way, her whole body also left the ground, floating a little about tens of centimeters in the air, and she was about to make a move. Seeing this, Eileen put one hand on her shoulder. In the next instant, she lost all strength and was about to fall down. Gwen hurriedly helped her up, a little confused. Who is this girl? Gwen, who shot quickly, even stumbled a little because of this, as if he was about to fall. Your power is still out of control, your magic power is not much and you want to explode, what are you thinking? Eileen said helplessly. He knew that the magic power in the opponent's body was not much at all, maybe. About the same as Wong. But the problem is that the king has experienced systematic learning, and the magic of the king is based on other dimensions of Mephisto, such as Waishandi's. Its own magical power is negligible, and Tian has never learned it. Let her erupt by herself, or she will lose her strength and fall into a coma before she makes a move, or she will erupt directly and explode herself first. So Ai Li stopped her with his hands. What are you going to do? Are you stopping me from revenge? You promised me to help me kill my enemies. As long as I succeed, I will do whatever you want me to do, even if it becomes a knife in your hand. Wanda saw that Ai Li made her own power disappear, and asked with some pain. In the past few years, she has relied on the belief of killing Tony Stark to live until now. Seeing that the enemy is right in front of her eyes, how can she give up? I'll talk about it later. I have something to deal with now. If you want to kill him afterwards, I will help you. Ai Li said. Hearing this, Wanda calmed down a bit, and then stared at Tony with hatred, as if she wanted to kill him 10,000 times with her eyes. What kind of hatred? Gwen asked strangely while supporting Wanda. He killed my parents and family. Wanda replied bitterly. Huh. Gwen was startled. There was still such a thing, and then looked at Tony with dissatisfied eyes for a moment. Tony, what are you talking about? When did I? Fufu, kill your parents? I can, sue you for slander. Don't be poor, what's the matter? Ai Li interrupted him angrily. At this time, he was still thinking about being poor, and he was almost out of breath, and then asked aloud. Tony isn't looking so good right now. His whole body was full of scars, and he was wearing a steel battle suit. He must have experienced battles, and he shouldn't be in such a mess with a steel battle suit. But even so, the battle armor on the thigh has fallen off, blood is flowing down from the leg, and the blood strip splits the entire right leg in two, which looks extremely eye-catching. The weapon system of one hand was tattered, and there was blood on the fingers, and blood dripped down the fingertips. Hee, I met a monster. Gudong. I don't know if it came out of which horned Gada in the universe, huh? A man who's never seen a woman. Woo, old. Native. Tony Stark's voice was very weak, and he began to speak intermittently. Keeping his eyes on the grass in front of him. Although he looked down on the other party in his mouth and kept belittling him, those eyes did not move away, with fear and caution in them. Gwen, what's the matter? Ai Li was a little surprised. Where did this guy come from? Ai Li's chi perceived the opponent, and found that this person's strength is not weak. How should I put it? It's a strange feeling. The other party is here, and the aura is genuine, but when I perceive again, I find that the other party's aura is up and down, and the next second, it seems that this person does not exist. It is impossible to make mistakes in perception, so it is this person who has a problem. Backquote. I don't know, I've been feeling someone staring at me for the past few days, but I can't find it, and nothing wrong happened, so I'm going to take another look. Gwen knew that Tony's situation was not good, so she talked about the cause and effect. But today, this guy suddenly appeared and wanted to attack me. When I wanted to resist, I found that my whole body had no strength, and my spider telepathy didn't respond. Tony found out that something was wrong with me, so he came to help me, but he didn't expect this guy to strike at a disagreement, and then they started fighting. Tony is not his opponent. Aren't you his opponent? Ai Li looked at Tony in surprise. With his steel battle suit, it couldn't be so. He didn't feel such a strong aura in the opponent's body. Compare. Slightly stronger than Gwen, but far behind Mephisto and the like. It may be almost like Thor who has not mastered the real power of Thor, but can only wield a hammer. But with such strength alone, it wouldn't be possible to beat Tony Stark like this, but the other party didn't have any scars at all. This guy calls himself Egg and wants to take Gwen away. HMPH, a guy who doesn't have a gentleman's demeanor at all, he still talks about a great master, the existence of a god. Bah, Nords. A mouthful of phlegm was spit out from Tony's mouth, and there was still blood in it. I don't know if I really spit, or I despise this guy. Egg. Ai Li looked at the opposite person in surprise. Why did this guy come to the earth suddenly? You seem to know me. I'm surprised. It seems that you are not simple. At this time, Yi Jie on the opposite side also noticed Ai Li's expression, and then approached step by step, stopping when the distance was about 10 meters. Egg, as far as I know, you already have children on Earth, there is no need to come again, what is the purpose? Ai Li only knows part of this guy. In the movie, I saw that the other party was the will of a planet, and then he was killed by Xingju, one of his many sons. But that's just a movie. As mentioned earlier, this is the real universe, and it's an existence that is different from the movie universe. You are really different. You know this kind of thing. Are you interested in becoming a member of us? As long as you kill all humans, you can join us. Become a great elder of the universe. Yi Jie was surprised by Ai Li's words, and then invited him with great interest, but his complexion suddenly changed while he was talking, even his face really changed, becoming extremely ugly. How do you know me? Chapter 78 I am not greedy for your body, I am greedy for magic. Advertise here. In the blink of an eye, Egg transformed from the form of a human gray-haired old man. The head turned into a dinosaur, then turned into a bald alien from a horror movie. After several changes in succession, it returned to the original appearance of ordinary people. How did you know? After asking, he smiled again. Your girlfriend, Gwen, is very interesting and I want to be a partner with her. This guy is really an alien. Tony Stark froze. He saw that the other party changed his face. Gwen and Wanda on the other side are also bewildered, unbelievable. Especially Wanda. She didn't even have the idea of seeking revenge from Tony, she just thought it was a fantasy. She was still at the Hydra base during the day, and was indoctrinated by Hydra to help the other party kill. She was rescued at night, and the person who rescued her can move instantly and use magic. Then before it was over, another person came out whose head could transform, and he was still an alien. God, what happened to this world? Is it so chaotic? Yeah, Lee nodded, giving Tony Stark and the other two people some science. Ego, one of the members of the Elders of the Universe, lived for about 80 million years. It's been a long time anyway. When it came to this number, Tony and the others couldn't hold back immediately, and they looked at each other blankly. And Yi Jie listened with great interest, without interrupting. This kind of feeling of listening to others commenting on himself, and also talking about his past is not bad. His body is difficult to define. After the emergence of self-awareness, 023 created a material layer around himself, and then formed a new planet. At the same time, he searched for the meaning of life in the universe, spread his own seeds, and attempted to conquer the universe. Lee explained based on what you know, generally there is no error. It's the gods, I'm myself. Egg added politely. The other party actually knew how long he had lived, and also told about his experience after becoming self-aware. Then the other party is qualified to know the concept of Tiantian group. After all, this word is not a taboo in some people's circles. On the contrary, it will increase his sense of mystery, which Egg likes very much. The will of the planet. Gwen and Wanda looked confused. So he is looking for women to have children all over the universe, and then, conquering the universe like this. Tony was stunned. Is that okay? Man, I can, to be exact. Egg smiled at Tony. This smile almost caught Tony off guard. Is he seducing himself? Isn't he? Then is he very strong? In the universe? Tony asked Lee. The opponent just hit him so hard that he was almost powerless to fight back, as if he had a super ability. He flew up by raising his hand, and he couldn't control it at all. He was able to squeeze his battle armor in the air, and he rushed in front of the opponent. Before he exerted any strength, he waved casually, and he flew upside down and hit the ground. This kind of strength, Tony has seen it in the Lee video, there is no second time. Hearing this question, Yi Jie also looked at Lee curiously, wanting to hear his answer. Should. Very weak. Lee thought for a moment and replied. In the plot of the movie, the other party was killed by the bombing, a planet was killed by the bombing just like that, and it was still the celestial team. This record is a bit poor. Aren't you a member of the Elders of the Universe? Tony asked again. That, as long as you are the last survivor of your race and enter the universe alive, you can join this organization. No combat power is required. Lee replied. Tony felt that he heard it wrong again. Could this be called the Elders of the Universe? Shouldn't it be called Space Survivors Reporting Group Heating and Mutual Aid Association? Little ghost, are you looking down on me? When Yi Jie heard Lee's evaluation, his anger instantly rose. This guy really looked down on him, and he gave such an evaluation. Who said that the Elders of the Universe don't need combat power? You must have the ability to live forever to join. After finishing speaking, Ego raised his hand and a beam of energy was shot at Lee, and at the same time his other hand clenched his fist at Lee. He wanted to use such force to squeeze the space around Lee, directly crushing him to death. I'll give you face. Lee saw the light beam and didn't pay attention to it at all. Before the light beam fell in front of him, it was directly blocked and dissipated. As for the squeeze of space, in fact, it is the squeeze of air. He turns the air around him into a means of fighting to oppress him. It's meaningless in such a way. Raising his hand, a qigong wave shot out from the palm, directly hitting the opponent's chest. When I came to the earth, I didn't ask who I am. Lee is not afraid of the other party's existence at all. It would be a bit troublesome for other god groups, because most of the god groups are indeed powerful, even Odin in his heyday must wear the destroyer armor to fight against. But, forget about Egg, from the moment he turned into a planet, his combat power will be different. And he has to fly with the planet to show his full strength. So you are that strong man on Earth, interesting. Yi Jie, who was caught by the public, looked at Lee blankly, and then spoke in the original tone. Then his body slowly dissipated, completely disappearing. Tony looked at the other person's position strangely. Dissipated, this is his duplication. Lee explained. At the same time, there are countless duplications of him in the entire universe, looking for suitable objects to have children. Really good at playing, Tony complained. Since it's all right, I'll take you back too. Seeing Tony Stark's bruises all over, Lee sighed helplessly. It's not appropriate not to send it back. Anyway, he only joined in to help Gwen. Now Gwen is fine, but he is covered in injuries. The battle ended, Tony passed out. Gwen also temporarily lost her spider telepathy ability due to unknown reasons, and now fell into a deep sleep. Maybe that ego did something. And Wanda was also out of strength, and because she had experienced too many things today, she fell into a coma. Seeing the three of them unconscious, Lee had no choice but to call the attendants here and open a few rooms. After arranging a few people, I was completely relieved. Gwen and himself were in the same room, and Lee's chi began to wander through each other's body, looking for the problem. In the end, it was found that there was nothing wrong with it, it was that this Yi Jie used some method to seal all the power in her body. But the time limit is very short, and it may recover within a day. If so, there is no need to worry. The next day, when she woke up, Gwen had asked the hotel to arrange breakfast, and she turned around and ran after hastily eating. It is said that the school still has a big exam today, and it is about to graduate, and every credit is very important. When we parted, we hurriedly kissed each other and set off towards the school. Walking to Wanda's side, the other party has also woken up and is eating breakfast. As for Tony, he left early. According to the people in the hotel, a very sexy female secretary came to pick him up. It should be his girlfriend Pepper. Let's go, Eileen said when she saw that Wanda had finished eating. Wanda was still thinking about Tony Stark, and she found that this man would stand in front of a stranger to save someone, which was a little different from what she thought. But an enemy is an enemy, and these are not the point at all. There is no one in the villa now, and it is not easy for Eileen to teleport there. On this issue, he plans to strengthen the ability of teleportation a little. There is no way but to take a taxi downstairs from the hotel and start. Soon, the car drove to the seaside villa. Seeing this manor-style villa with its back against the sea, the cliff on the other side of the garden, and a view of the entire sea, Wanda was stunned. Don't be dazed, come in with me. From today onwards, you will live here and make this your home. Eileen walked in front and spoke, pointing to the surrounding things while talking. Home. Wanda recalled the word blankly. Since the explosion, her home was gone, and now she has it again. But, followed all the way into the villa, Wong is mostly not affectionate. Everything that happened so suddenly made her a little dazed now. Hydra, aliens, teleportation, home. Eileen took her to the third floor of the villa, a bedroom with a balcony and a direct view of the sea. This room will be your room from now on. I will arrange for someone to bring you some daily necessities. Don't worry about meals and the like. Someone will deliver 3 meals a day. If you need anything directly, someone will send it to you. You can say whatever you like, as long as it's reasonable. Don't worry, this is not detaining you, you want to go out definitely freely. Are you keeping me? Wanda asked after thinking for a while, finding a word that best suited her current state among the words she knew in her mind. It doesn't matter, as long as you can help me kill Tony Stark, I can. As soon as Eileen covered her forehead, she seemed to have exaggerated a bit, which made her misunderstand. He's not greedy, he just wants to see Wanda's origin magic power. Definitely the body is not impossible, but that's not the point. Chapter 79 Eavesdropping on Wanda in the corner. Sleepless tonight thanks to Sleepless Tonight, monthly pass. Advertise here. The current Wanda has not demonstrated the power of origin magic power. Although the body has magic power, but the particularity is not so exaggerated. It may be the witch's magic power inherited from the other party's family. The real origin magic power is the ancestor of all magic. It is an independent form of magic. It is the earliest primordial light in cosmic cognition and accidental events. Strange, impossible flames of life burn, known as origin magic power. Origin magic power is neither purely constructive nor destructive, it is not limited by good or evil. The most common function of origin magic power is alter reality. Scarlet Witch can use this ability to easily modify reality. Including but not limited to transforming matter, modifying cause and effect, creating out of thin air, distorting space and time, creating duplication, creating latitude, modifying physical rules, etc. Somewhat exaggerated, but this is indeed the setting in Marvel. Eileen feels a little bit wrong. Because the explanation of origin magic power is in another place. It is also said to come from Sithorn, that is, the power of the god of the underworld. It was Hades who gave Wanda origin magic power to turn her fishy. Endorsing the book, Eileen thinks it must be unreliable. No one can tell what the world is like. But to sum it up, Wanda, everything is this woman. No matter what the situation is and how it is done, Wanda can control the origin magic power. So as long as Eileen can bring her by her side, then you can really find the focus of origin magic power. Get in touch with the real origin magic power. Don't talk nonsense about nurturing, I just provide you with a good environment. Eileen explained to Wanda. He doesn't want to be the strange uncle in the eyes of many people. After all, his current physical age is not very old. The purpose of my giving you these is that you will understand in the future, as long as you know that your power is stronger than you imagined. So, I will find a way for you to find that power. After you get that power, I will try to get in touch with it, as long as you help me understand your power. Eileen didn't hide it, and directly stated her purpose. In this way, Wanda trusted him even more. Only, can my strength match yours? Wanda does not understand. The strength shown by Eileen is already exaggerated, so you still need yourself. Have no idea. Eileen shook his head, waiting for the opponent to obtain origin magic power. He doesn't know how strong he will become. Perhaps surpassing each other. It may not be comparable to the ancient magic form of this universe at all. But the point is not to be strong, but to be an unknown. To become stronger, you need a broader vision. I don't know how powerful origin magic power can be, and whether I can master it. But I need to understand it, to know the concept of its existence, so that I can understand more. Wanda next to him nodded half understanding. It was the first time she met someone like Eileen. Like Hydra, she wants to study her own power, but she has a different attitude. Eileen's practice made her more relaxed and comfortable. Tony. After knowing what Eileen was thinking, Wanda thought of her enemy again and spoke up. I know, don't worry. Eileen nodded in understanding. Rest first, and I will give you an answer after you have rested. Yeah, Wanda nodded, but she believed Ai, because the other party hadn't lied to herself so far. What happened today has a lot of ups and downs for her. These all take a little bit of digestion. The strong pressure made her a little tired all the time. Even in the Hydra base, all kinds of fears every day make Wanda's brain tense. There, she never knows what will happen next second. Whether Hydra will suddenly explode, don't care about her ability. Will you not want to study and kill them directly? Pietro has always said that he is an older brother, but by Wanda's side he is just a younger brother. And she also used her sister's identity to protect the other party. This makes Wanda's character very mature, but also more stressful. Now, lying on a big soft sofa bed, as soon as she lay down, the softness startled her. Unexpectedly, the whole person fell directly into it, as if completely wrapped in velvet. Close your eyes, Wanda slowly begins to relax. She seems to have returned to that happy family. Back in the arms of the mother, the teasing of the father, the joy of the family. Mother, murmurs sounded. Wanda fell into a deep sleep, reunited with her dead family members in her dream, hugged each other and cried. Quote. In sleep, the voice in Wanda's ear. She thought it was still talking to herself in a dream, but slowly opened her eyes. I found that the outside sky has turned into night without the curtains drawn. Rubbing her swollen head, she felt a little painful from sleeping too deeply, but fortunately it was not too exaggerated. Remember my parents. Laughing at himself, he could only see them in his dreams. But suddenly she was startled, because a voice came from her ear once. Dad, it's not my own shouting, nor is it a fantasy in a dream, is it? Curious, Wanda walked out of the room. She walked lightly without even putting on her slippers, for fear of disturbing anything. I moved my footsteps a little bit, and found that the sound was coming from downstairs. I am on the 3rd floor, and the 2nd floor is Eileen's room. What is that voice? Wanda, who had never experienced this before, was a little curious, so she raised her feet and walked forward again. Finally, after untold hardships, they arrived at the place where the sound came from, which was in Eileen's room. Who's calling Daddy? It's a woman's voice, it sounds like Gwen. Confused, Wanda was suddenly at a loss. Although she hadn't experienced these things, it didn't mean she hadn't heard some jokes. While at the Hydra base, because of her beauty, there are always some goddamn guys making fun of her, with dirty words out of their mouths. Even some Hydra superiors often say that if she is really useless one day, she will be taught how to do it. So probably know something. Listening to the movement in the house again, Wanda's face turned red. I want to leave, but I don't know why, and I can't move my feet after listening to these. After all, she is an 18-year-old girl. Curiosity and youth at this age made her a little obsessed, so she slowly fell down the wall, and finally sat on the ground. After more than an hour. Hate. Gwen slapped little Eileen dissatisfied. I originally planned to share with her the results of today's exam. I didn't expect to be caught by Eileen as soon as I arrived here. It made her still a little terrified. Blame me. You obviously had a good chat, but you suddenly came up. You still say. I won't say it, just blame me. Eileen glanced at her, then leaned against the head of the bed. With one hand in his arms, he embraced Gwen in his arms. The other party also took advantage of the situation and leaned on Eileen's shoulder. After the war subsided for a while, they suddenly fell into silence. Wanda, seems to be hard to let go. Gwen suddenly said, bringing up Wanda. I can see that she has gone through a lot of things. A girl who is about my age has actually stayed in the Hydra base for so long. Don't bully her. I'll bully her. Do you think I'm that kind of person? Eileen replied hastily, speaking as if she was a beast. That's not necessarily true, after all Wanda is a beautiful woman. Gwen said angrily. Talking about Wanda, she also looked at herself. In fact, Gwen's figure is already very good, with lordosis and back curl. Coupled with the blessing of tights, it has an incomparable charm. But she always felt that standing in front of Wanda was still a bit lacking in style. There is no way, the main reason is that the other party's figure is too good. Honestly, have you ever been tempted? Hee, how could it be? Eileen said evasively. His eyes drifted to the door involuntarily. He's not Gwen. Gwen was a little out of strength due to the battle, and her full strength has not yet recovered. So there was no movement at the door. But his aura is so strong that he doesn't even need to take the initiative to explore, he can perceive it. Door. There is a person listening to the corner. In this villa, the maids have long stood outside to patrol and do things, or went to a separate small room to rest. It is self-evident who can be the rest. Suddenly, in front of the other party, Gwen asked herself if she had any ideas. Not to mention, even a thick-skinned person like Eileen feels a little embarrassed now. Seeing Eileen's appearance, Gwen sighed, but did not blame him. After all, he is a man, so when he actually sees Wanda, he will have a different feeling. Outside the door, Wanda kept hearing the present, and finally realized that the battle was over. As she was about to leave, she suddenly heard the two discussing herself. After being startled for a while, he didn't move, leaning against the door and listening to the conversation inside. What would you say when you talk about yourself? You will have no idea. She has a much better figure than me, don't you just like a good figure? Mentioning this, Gwen gritted her teeth, and looked down to see that she was caught red. Ahem. Eileen coughed. When did I only like a good figure? I care about whether the relationship is good or not. That being said, Lee couldn't help thinking of Wanda's appearance in his mind. And his aura, also subconsciously under this kind of thought, extended towards the outside. Scanning Wanda carefully, Lee was shocked all of a sudden. Wanda and Gwen are a little different. Gwen is about 1.75 meters tall, which is really not short. Wanda is less than 1.7 meters tall. She is magnificent. It's even more heroic than what you see in the movie, or even too much. Wanda in real life can almost be said to be the most heroic Lee has ever seen. 0. Seeking flowers. At the first sight of Lee, I thought she must start in D gear. But just now he found out of anger. It may be F plus G type, but the latitude gap is completely different from those ordinary F plus G. To be honest, in the previous life, Lee didn't like being too heroic. Because this kind of person looks like everything when there is a lampshade, but once it is taken off, it will not be beautiful in an instant. But things are a little different now. I don't know because she was originally a special existence in the universe. Or is it caused by Marvel's great will? Or maybe it's because she's still young, so she's naturally different. Wanda is a form that never falls, it is the perfect of perfection. Perceiving Wanda's appearance at the door, Lee couldn't help but speak. If you don't reach the Great Wall, you are not a hero, and if you are not afraid of Mount High, you will be a hero. This Tarzan, I really miss him. What? Gwen couldn't understand the Chinese spoken by Lee. Nothing. Lee opened his mouth casually. As a person who has appreciated countless existences. Speaking of this neon island being bombed by him, isn't it a pity? Should most of the film and television personnel be left behind? Wanda's height is not as good as Gwen's. She's about 1.6 meters tall and looks 1.65 meters tall. In fact, her legs shouldn't be long. But she is a golden ratio, her legs are longer than those 1.7 meters girls, it is outrageous. This other girl does not include Gwen, Gwen is also very good. Are you going away for a while? Suddenly, Gwen asked Lee with a trembling voice. What? Lee still didn't recover. You're leaving, I know. That's your character, that egg, you want to deal with him, don't you? Don't worry, he is no threat to me. Seeing Gwen's worried expression, Lee was a little surprised that the other party actually guessed it. In fact, he really intends to find trouble with the other party, after all, this guy has made up his mind to hit his own woman. Can you bear it? He is so far away from the Earth, it shouldn't matter. Gwen was still worried about this. A person on Earth suddenly wants to leave the Earth and go to the universe to find trouble with someone. Even if Gwen is Spider-Man, it feels exaggerated to think about it. How many powerful are there in the vast universe? Compared with the universe, the Earth is an insignificant existence. Such a comparison, the road insurance needless to say. She knows that Lee is very strong. But maybe there are stronger people in the universe. Why are ghosts always so scary in people's mouth? Horror movies can never avoid topics like ghosts. Simply because they are unknown. The unknown is always the scariest thing. But he has to deal with it. Lee also got serious, and Gwen began to explain. If you don't solve him, he will still have this idea in the future. He knows my existence on Earth, and he also knows your existence. The first time he hit your idea, what about the next time? He relied on sowing seeds throughout the universe to find the meaning of life and improve his own strength. Do you think he's going to pass up an opportunity that might make him stronger? His body is a planet, and it is extremely difficult to come to Earth. I don't know how many years it will take, but this time it will be 1 duplication, and next time 10 will come. 100. Day. Just imagine, when you go downstairs, all the people around you are changed by him. The aunt who sells newspapers, the gatekeeper at the school gate, the passing policeman who greets you, the assistants around your father, and even your classmates and teachers are all turned into him and want to attack you. 1. Lee did not continue. Because these are enough. Gwen curled up in the quilt when she heard this, completely wrapped herself in the quilt, and at the same time hugged Lee. Thinking about this picture is really scary. Gwen thinks it is scarier than Silent Hill. I think he's really going to die. Gwen felt as if she couldn't keep the other party. And I also want to go to the universe to see. After all, there are not many people on Earth who threaten me, and those few powerful ones will not show up, and they will hide themselves and refuse to do anything. Lee also has a heart that wants to fight. It may be the influence of S cells and wants to fight with people. But those who are not strong enough are boring, and those who are too strong will not come out. He can't run to other people's door for no reason and say he wants to fight, can he? At what level? Playing an inch is not too much fun. If you are not careful, you will start with a serious injury. But when it comes to self-cultivation, it is normal to blink for thousands of years, and it is normal for 10,000 years. Mephisto doesn't want that in those latitudes, so he definitely doesn't want to fight him. Now it is rare to have a former Tiantian group messing up, it would be a pity to let him go. Then you have to be careful. Gwen reminded him knowing that he couldn't persuade him. Don't worry, love me. Perhaps thinking that Lee is in danger, Gwen became more presumptuous and proactive this time. And Lee's aura passed by, and found that Wanda at the door had disappeared and returned to his room. So, he is no longer restrained. Chapter 80 Revenge for Wanda, Kill Tony Once. Advertise here. Lee didn't go out these few days, but stayed at home researching something. Wanda also has her own mission, she has to get familiar with the outside world. She has been in the Hydra base for too long and she has been slightly out of touch with the current technological development. And only then did she know what kind of company Stark Group is now. Know what Tony's current personality is like. Although Lee did not follow his promise and took revenge on himself the next day. But she also knew from the corner that Lee was going to leave the Earth to find trouble with that ego. Now I'm busy again, I should have something to deal with. So it's understandable that he doesn't have time to take care of his own revenge. Until noon a week later. When Wanda returned to the villa and opened the door, she found that Tony Stark was hanging in the living room. Woo 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 woo, woo woo woo. Tony hung in the air with some grief. His current image is really a bit embarrassing. When the whole person is tied up, the ropes up and down the whole body seem to have some characteristics. How to say? Tony tried this on those cover ladies. Tortoise shell binding. A very authentic bundle. He didn't even know how the other party was so familiar. Seeing Wanda come in, I felt that my face was completely lost, and I cried out in grief. Tony Stark. When Wanda saw the other party, her anger rose instantly, and she wanted to kill the other party. Although she didn't know why, she didn't want to do anything so much in her heart. The rest of what drives her is entirely an impulse accumulated over such a long time. Are you going to stop me? Seeing Lee standing in front of her, Wanda spoke with some difficulty. She doesn't want Lee to be an enemy. Don't worry, I've already caught him, and I'm still afraid of you doing it. Lee smiled, then turned to look at Tony Stark. Since it's an enemy, could it be that 453 said that you don't want to be tortured, and talk to him by the way? It can't be that he doesn't know why he died, so what pleasure do you have for revenge? Listening to what he said, Wanda felt that it made sense. It's too boring to let him die like this. What's the point if the other party doesn't know why he killed him? Then, with Wanda's consent, Lee knocked the rag out of Tony's mouth with a wave of his hand. Tony, who breathed fresh air again, was very refreshed. You have today too. Seeing his panting in embarrassment, Wanda spoke happily. We have a grudge, Tony asked suspiciously. You killed my parents, my family. Ruined my family. Wanda's complexion was a bit ugly, and most of them were the sadness of memories. Seeing this expression, Tony was a little dazed. No, when did I kill your family? It's impossible. Although I used to be a playboy, I never killed anyone. As for the recent words, I have also fought with many people, but I am sure that I will never kill an ordinary person, or a good person. Unless it is from the enemy's side. He can accept things like being playful, but killing people. Tony said that he did not take the blame. You still want to quibble. Wanda immediately became angry. She thought about many possibilities. When the other party begs for mercy, the other party will cry bitterly and reflect on himself. But I didn't expect that the other party would refuse to admit it. Your weapon killed her parents. When it exploded, she saw your company's name on the missile. Lee reminded. Tony froze. He didn't expect it to be because of this. But it seems possible. When I was a playboy, I taught the company how to buy and sell weapons. That is to say, Obadiah Stan, his recognized family member, did not expect that the other party sold weapons to terrorists without telling him. That is, the group of terrorists who killed Wanda's family. No, this matter. In Tony's hasty explanation, Wanda also knew the cause and effect. A dystocia problem arises. Does the person who makes the knife take responsibility for killing people with this knife? Some people say that the two are different. One is a thermal weapon, which is used against the enemy. You make guns and sell them to the gunner. He kills definitely you, the one who pays for the guns are responsible. But Tony is the manufacturer. He didn't know that it would be sold to terrorists, and it was operated by other people in private. With a mess in her mind, Wanda fell powerlessly to the ground. She didn't know what to do with herself, everything was not in line with her ideas. Or, kill it, Lee said suddenly. What? Wanda stared blankly at him, wanting to kill him. Lee saw her bewildered. Knowing what she is thinking now, what has been driving her to live? One is for the safety of his younger brother Quicksilver, and the other is to avenge his family. But now my younger brother is safe, and my enemy is not my enemy. With no goals, no motivation, and nothing, she will definitely collapse suddenly. Lee walked to Wanda's side, and then picked up a knife hidden behind him at some point and gave it to him. After taking it tremblingly, Wanda was still a little dazed. That being the case, Lee is here to help her. Supporting her body step by step forward. Then he stood in front of the hanging Tony, waved his hand, and the pair fell in front of their eyes. The distance between the two sides was very close, and Tony Stark's feet were just about to hit the ground. Poke in. Lee held her hand, let her hold the knife tightly and sent it forward. Wanda didn't know what to think at this time, she flinched a little. Subconsciously, he resisted with his hands back, trying to block Lee's power. But it's useless, Lee is still working harder. Under his hand, Wanda's blade moved forward bit by bit, and soon it was attached to Tony's skin. According to this intensity, and then according to the movement of backing and stretching just now. The next time he will stab into the opponent's body. Don't. Lee, it's not like that. You weren't. Tony Stark was stunned seeing this scene. His eyes showed a look of horror, with fear and anger. All this is different from what he said when he came. Lee assured him that he would not be in danger, so he agreed to give it a try. Because he knows very well that if he refuses, with Lee's strength, he doesn't need to think about it at all. He can tie himself here directly, and asking for opinions is just a process. Puff. Under Tony's terrified eyes, the blade stabbed into his chest. Wanda's eyes widened. She looked in disbelief at the blood-spitting Tony Stark in front of her, and then at the knife in her hand. She also became a little scared, her fingers trembling involuntarily. Eileen's hand has left her wrist, making the following movements all at her own will. Wanda couldn't help trembling and didn't know what to do. Looking at Tony Stark, who vomited blood in front of him and the blood on his chest flowed down the blade. She took a step back, and then involuntarily pulled out the blade. At this moment, she had the idea of running away. Don't. Poof. Tony, who had already been hurt once, felt the pain in his heart again. Subconsciously wanted to stop the opponent's movement, but it was still a step too late. The blade had already left, his heart began to tingle. His whole body slowly turned cold, and his brain involuntarily emptied out. Marquis, it seems to be flickering. Sorry. Wanda, who was almost in tears, subconsciously apologized. I don't know if I'm apologizing because I don't think I should have killed Tony. Or she apologized for the inappropriate action of drawing the knife. Should be the latter, because while she was apologizing, she stabbed the blade in her hand again. The position just now was not bad at all, and it happened to perfectly fill up a cut. Tony. There were screams from upstairs, a lady's voice shouting Tony's name. High heels ran quickly, and then hugged Tony Stark, who was hanging in the air. I'm sorry. I love you, Pepper. Tony looked at the little Pepper in front of him, and confessed with a difficult smile. Pepper nearly broke down, catching Tony crying. At the same time, Eileen looked at Wanda in his arms and was a little confused. After the stabbing, she rushed into her arms like this, trembling all over as if she was a little scared. What are you doing? You said he wouldn't die. You liar. Pepper turned his head and cursed at Eileen, because Eileen asked them to come here today. And under the guarantee, little Pepper playfully tied Tony up, using a tortoiseshell tie. But I didn't expect to become the culprit. Letting Tony die in that position broke his heart. Have a good time. If that's the case, you're getting revenge. Eileen ignored Pepper, but said to Wanda. No, I have no idea. Wanda cried. Pear blossoms with rain aroused pity. Let's put down the hatred. It's good to be yourself in the future. Find what you want to do, and then complete your mission. Wanda, you don't live for anyone, and you don't live for any hatred or anything like that. You are only for yourself. Eileen helped her up, then held Wanda's chin with both hands, raised her head, and spoke to her. But, I killed him. I probably shouldn't have killed him. It's okay. Seeing that Wanda was still feeling guilty about killing Tony, Eileen hugged him directly. How should I put it? Feeling the woman in front of him, Eileen suddenly felt a little evil. Wei Wu's legacy, Jianan's strength of character, Mengda's ambition, dare not forget it. Eileen doesn't intend to marry someone, but he really can't refuse this kind of little girl. Especially if the opponent is still in existence like Wanda. Bah, I'm a scumbag. After cursing himself secretly, he straightened Wanda again. Then a smile appeared. So if you were given another chance, would you consider him your enemy? No. Wanda said affirmatively. She already knew that her enemy was not Tony Stark. But the dark side of the world. It's the darkness that makes these things happen. That's right, but I still let you kill him, because only in this way can you recognize your heart. Eileen nodded, affirming her thoughts, and then prepared to continue to appease her. Unexpectedly, a voice came from beside him at this time. Difference. Not much is enough. It's okay for you to pick up girls, my woman is still crying. The sound is not small, it can be heard almost in the corner of the living room. Eileen didn't respond, but Wanda could hear clearly that it was Tony Stark's voice, and looked suspiciously. Pepper heard the same thing, and turned around hastily. But Pepper couldn't see anything, and looked around inexplicably. So Wanda seemed to see a little shadow and recognized it as Tony. He's not dead, Wanda asked strangely. It's too cold to die. Tony couldn't help but rolled his eyes, his body was lying there, blood flowed all over the floor. If this goes on, my fleshy body is almost the same as beef soaked in tomato sauce, which is almost disgusting. Then this is soul, Tony Stark's soul, there is a soul after death. Eileen replied. After speaking, he moved his hand. The power of time begins to flow. In an instant, Tony's soul slowly returned to his physical body. And the body also slowly recovered from the bleeding just now, and finally turned into a normal person. The pale complexion began to turn red, and the wound slowly recovered. In the end, it directly became the intact appearance before. Ahem. Tony Stark, who coughed twice, woke up, opened his eyes and looked around. Immediately after the first thing. It was about to come straight to Eileen. He wanted to find a place, and he actually killed himself. But he was stopped by the little Pepper hugging him and crying. In desperation, he had no choice but to give up looking for Eileen to settle accounts, and turned around to coax his girlfriend and secretary. This is. Wanda was a little strange. With the power of time, I let the time reverse back to when he was not injured, and the soul was kept here by me after he left the body, and it will not dissipate. Listening to Eileen's explanation with half understanding. But she didn't have the hatred for Tony anymore, so she let it go. Seeing this, Eileen is also very satisfied. This time the plan is like this, he has already made preparations. The only difference is that he didn't tell Tony about the following things. Just say that after explaining everything, I guarantee that he will not die. The atmosphere of sadness and lamentation slowly dissipates. Tony also put this matter behind him, very face-saving. By the way, he also said that it was his first time to experience such a feeling of death, especially the separation of the soul, which made him know more mysteries. Then I ordered a lot of dishes to be delivered to the villa. A group of people came here for a barbecue party. After eating and drinking, Eileen and Tony also buried themselves in the laboratory. They're going to build a spacecraft. Eileen originally planned to fly into the universe by himself, and then go to find Yi-Ji's planet. Think it's not appropriate. Who knows when to find such a big universe? If you are lucky, just ask 4.7 people. If you are unlucky, I don't know how long it will take. I'm afraid I'm going to die of exhaustion if I fly around in the universe. He's not that crazy woman in Captain Marvel. It's not tiring to run around the universe alone. With that time, why can't Eileen stay in the spaceship and drink a little wine, watch a small movie, play a small game? By the way, how about improving your own strength? Do you have to fly by yourself? Captain Marvel Carol Danvers kind of idle egg pain. I can't handle the affairs of the Earth well, and I have time to take care of the idle mind of the universe. The knowledge of the two of them is completely enough to build a spaceship. Tony originally's scientific research ability is impeccable, and his learning ability is also extremely good. And Eileen, sorry, God-defying savvy, do whatever you want. All the content is very simple in his opinion, as long as the problem is still within the acceptable range, he will understand it for you in minutes. Tony Stark is a little skeptical about life. He thinks that if Eileen goes to college and makes some inventions, the most powerful genius of this century is about to give way. After everything was fine in theory, Eileen became the hands-off shopkeeper and taught Tony to make it himself. Don't worry about the materials, S.H.I.E.L.D. will provide them. This is also one of Nick Fury's rewards for setting up a Hydra base last time. Eileen and Tony also studied the issue of fuel for a long time, and finally it was directly handled by Tony Stark. He's fine. Definitely not really nothing to do. In the eyes of everyone. Eileen soared into the sky, heading directly from the ground to the sky. He has a very serious matter to deal with. Universe survival. Saiyans have a very troublesome weakness, that is, they cannot live and breathe directly in the universe. And this can be solved for Eileen, because he is not a real Saiyan, he is a human being who practices Saiyan law. As for the question of the existence of the universe, one only needs to realize it. Chapter 81 Perseverance in Breathing, the Evolution of the Sun Close Black Lens Bracket. Advertise here. Reaching the atmosphere, Eileen can already feel his own difficulty in breathing. Frozen in place, Eileen looks at the universe through this layer. He will step into it any further. According to normal circumstances, he will freeze instantly all over his body, his blood will stagnate, and his brain will slowly shut down. Then the whole person completely becomes dust in the universe. In this place where breath is thin, Eileen also began to feel everything here. The breathing method was mobilized, and his brain began to spin rapidly. You have studied and continued to use the breathing method for a long time, and began to understand the mysteries of the universe under the shining of the sun. You have an epiphany. You have comprehended the sun breathing method, close black lens bracket. Sun breathing method. A further step in the existence of breathing method, it is additionally able to breathe in and absorb the photons emitted by the external perseverance to convert energy, effectively store it in the body, and better strengthen the effect of spirit, energy and spirit. Close black lens bracket. When Eileen felt everything, his own breathing method started to work. Soon, he successfully took his own breathing method to the next level. Solar breathing. The original breathing method only absorbs external energy, and most of it is based on air. And now, with the emergence of his solar breathing method, he can already absorb photon energy directly. At this stage, light has become my foundation guarantee. I became light. Not yet, it's just absorbing energy, similar to solar energy. This situation ensures that I don't need the presence of air to breathe, but Eileen looks at the sun. Now he still can't survive in the universe. Because apart from breathing in the universe, the original body must also be able to adapt to the universe. Just like Ebony Maw, one of the 4 generals under Thanos. In the first moment of entering the universe, the whole person died completely, and there was no room for resistance at all. It is the greatest humiliation for a magic powerhouse to be sucked into space and die. Counting it, Eileen feels more like a plot kill. Stronger body. For example, after Thor met Thanos, he was exiled into the universe. His physical body is strong enough for him to survive in the universe. Yeah, he can't move freely. When you can't be in space, you can walk on the ground like you are on the ground. Going one step further, Eileen wants to understand this 08 points, climb up again. His speed increased and he sprinted directly to the atmosphere. Is he crazy? Tony Stark observed from the ground. The naked eye cannot see each other's movements, but satellites can still capture them. Seeing Eileen resolutely heading towards outer space, it completely frightened him. What's wrong? Wanda asked strangely. What happened to Eileen? What about others? Gwen, who had just arrived, immediately jumped to Tony Stark's side and asked. He's sprinting into outer space. According to his speed, in less than a few seconds, he will directly enter space and completely get rid of the Earth. Tony looked at the satellite images in disbelief. Everyone knows that it is impossible for human beings to survive in the universe unless they use protective clothing. But the other party is wearing ordinary clothes. He wants to challenge the limits of human beings. Damn it, he'll die if it goes on like this. How so? Wanda looked up with some melancholy, not understanding why he did this. No, He won't be so reckless, he's always had a plan. Gwen believed in Eileen a little bit, he knew what kind of person the other party was. Hopefully, Tony could only comfort himself. Eileen, who is still accelerating, feels the changes around her. The so-called atmosphere is a threat to the whole world. The ultra-fast flight caused friction of flames around him. He is now like a meteorite flying backwards, trying to rush out of the Earth. It's starting to get a little hard, I feel the cold in my arms. The power of space. To comprehend, to experience. Only by true understanding can I realize a more precise existence. This is a challenge and adventure, but it will definitely bring me a great improvement. Eileen believes in her own understanding. Because this is the time when I travel through, the blessings given to me by the Earth in the previous life. It is the heaven-defying understanding given to him by the entire universe. He also believed in a truth. Danger and benefit coexist. As he got closer and closer to space, the pressure on his body increased. Fortunately, his physical strength doesn't care about these pressures at all, it's just that he's not used to it. The real difficulty is how to get used to it in space and be able to fight perfectly. Open black lens bracket. You have an epiphany. Close black lens bracket. Your S cells are threatened, and you subconsciously start trying to make S cells adapt to everything. Your solar breathing begins to match your surrounding environment. You can walk on the ground in space, you have an epiphany, you understand the mystery of the universe, your body becomes stronger, and your adaptation ability becomes more perfect. Eileen suddenly jumped out of the Earth and completely entered space. Subconsciously want to breathe, but the air didn't enter the body as expected, what was exchanged was a strange energy. It takes the place of air. There is no need to change any habits, and it naturally replaces air breathing. Feeling the changes in her body, Eileen began to shuttle in space like a fish. The use of chi allows him to roam freely in space and change positions. This is the same as on Earth, which makes Eileen very satisfied. Turning to look at the position of the sun. The dazzling light almost blinded him subconsciously. This is not the Earth. The sun's rays did not experience multiple obstacles to lose that stimulation, leaving only gentleness when exposed to the sun. Here is space. The sun here can't even be described as poisonous. That's total devastation. The naked eyes look directly at each other, and one glance can make people feel blind. Fortunately, Eileen's current solar breathing method can absorb photon energy. So the energies didn't hurt him. On the contrary, it made his body gradually feel more powerful. In less than a while, he seemed to have absorbed the energy of several years. S cells start to cheer. Every part of the body is full of power. This feeling is great. Letting go of hands and feet, Eileen directly opened his arms to enjoy the sun's rays with the word, 2. You have absorbed more intense fixed star photon energy, your solar breathing method has made great progress, and your experience of the persistent sun has become more profound. You have an epiphany. You have realized the fixed star breathing method. Fixed star breathing method. Fixed star is a luminous plasma, and there are 300 billion fixed stars in the Milky Way system. On the basis of absorbing solar photon energy, you can advance to absorb the power of fixed star, and you can additionally absorb nuclear fusion energy as your ability supplement. Close black lens bracket. The moment Eileen realized this, the speed of energy absorbing in his body became faster. In addition to the basic light energy, the power absorbed by his body has a little more. Nuclear fusion, nuclear integrate reaction, fusion reaction, or thermonuclear reaction. Only under extremely high temperature and pressure can the extranuclear electrons be freed from the shackles of the nucleus. Let the two nuclei attract each other and collide together, and the nuclei will aggregate with each other to generate new nuclei with heavier masses. Simply put, it is invincible. The sudden effect made Eileen a little surprised, opened his eyes in disbelief. Feeling the changes in himself, he regained his senses and looked at the Earth. Then it suddenly rushed downwards in an instant. It's almost time to go back. Otherwise they might be worried that I will die in space. Another fireball landed. When people in the city saw this scene, they thought it was a meteorite hitting the Earth, and some even called it the end of the world. But in the end, the explosion they imagined didn't happen. In order to avoid commotion, officials announced that it was just a part of a satellite that fell off and was already being recovered. Some people believe it and some don't. Ah! Wanda screamed suddenly, then subconsciously covered her eyes with her hands. Although the fingers are not close together, her actions are a bit self-deceiving. After all, the eyeballs seem to be able to see. Eileen was taken aback, then immediately jumped out and rushed to the house at an incredible speed, put on new clothes, and returned to the backyard again. Just because of the excitement of the sudden arrival, I forgot to protect my clothes with air when I came down. The power of such atmospheric friction can't do him any harm at all. So subconsciously ignore this. Be careful next time, be careful next time. Eileen was also a little embarrassed when he said this. After all, to swing the elephant's trunk so swaggeringly, and still have every bit of shame. Only Crayon Shin-chan can do this kind of thing. And it must be a little embarrassing to be seen by Wanda. Wanda's face was flushed and she didn't say a word, but subconsciously her eyes drifted to Eileen. Then moved down, and finally look at other positions with embarrassment. Back and forth several times. I have been unable to resist my own small movements. You're not very young, and you have a lot of money. Tony Stark on the side said with a taste. He really didn't expect the young Eileen to have such a strong capital. Dude, bigger than AF King Black person. I'm afraid it's twice as much as myself. Ahem, Tony had forgotten about it, and never thought about it. He was afraid that he would feel inferior in the future. Successful? Gwen asked a little excitedly. Lee nodded. Really? How did you do it? Tony was really intimidated this time, and rushed up to ask in 2 or 3 steps. This is no joke. The human body enters the universe, and then lives in space. Can breathe, can move, can live. This is simply a miracle. If ordinary people on Earth know about this, they will treat Lee as a god on Earth without saying a word. God's place must be out of the way. After all, God is a legendary existence, no one has ever seen it. And Lee is a real person. I can come down without success. I'm afraid I'll die in space. Lee replied with a blank look. Can Tony know if he is really successful or not? He is staring at himself with a satellite. No. It should be said that several satellites were staring at him at that time. Now I am afraid that several forces all know that he can survive in outer space. But he doesn't care, it's better this way. In this way, Jinhee's power on the Earth can also be stronger. If you want to touch the people around Lee, you have to weigh it yourself. After Lee finished speaking, he suddenly felt a little uncomfortable in his eyes, and subconsciously covered them with his hands. What's wrong? Gwen asked worriedly. After all, it was the first time to enter space, although it was successful. But who knows if there will be any accidents? Or a hidden problem? It's okay, it's just a weird feeling. After Lee replied, he let go of his fingers and his eyes returned to normal. Everything in his eyes just now became darker, like night blindness. But after looking inside, everything changed very normal. He couldn't find the reason, and there was no change, and he didn't take it seriously. I may have to retreat for a few days, don't worry. Lee said with a smile on Gwen. Well, pay attention to yourself. Gwen nodded, she really wanted to rest more, and also asked about the safety issues guaranteed by Lee. Then his eyes shifted to Wanda. During this period, you can practice the magic I told you by yourself. You have your own source of magic power. Basic training is indispensable, for the rest of the time. Lee also doesn't know what to do, Wanda has nothing to do. What else is there to do but practice her own gypsy witch magic? I'll take her to school. Gwen suddenly jumped out and said. Wanda froze. Going to school? Can I? I haven't been to school for a long time. The last time I went to school was middle school. My grades may not keep up. That's right, I'm definitely willing if I can, but if it's troublesome. 617. In front of Gwen, Wanda, who was a little shorter, was a bit small, and she was suddenly at a loss. The subconscious retreat is even curled up, which makes people feel even more cute. But everyone can see that. In fact, she really wanted to go, because all the explanations couldn't get around the words of wanting to go. I am afraid that going to school is a difficult feeling for Wanda. After all, ordinary people think that going to school is a very normal thing, and some people even don't like it and don't want to go. But Wanda has been brought into Hydra since her parents died. She wants to go but can't go. The only books that can be seen are some messy books and magazines in the base. It is also by relying on these magazines that Wanda has not completely forgotten the outside world. Don't worry, I will directly donate 2 buildings to the school, you don't have to worry, schooling is completely fine. You will be guaranteed graduation. Tony Stark stepped forward at the right time, in his opinion, although he had already been killed once. But I was also the cause of the death of Wanda's family. If there is a cause, there will be an effect, maybe I can help her a little bit. Even if it's a university, it's fine. With me in charge, you can choose any university in the world. Wanda looked at Tony in a daze, suddenly at a loss, wondering whether to accept the other party's kindness. Subconsciously looked at Lee. It's okay, as long as you agree, it's just this old scumbag's compensation to you. After all, he really developed that missile. Lee replied. Then, thank you. Wanda bowed sharply at Tony, thanking him for his action. This sudden scene made Tony a little embarrassed, he smiled awkwardly. I also look at Lee's face, it's nothing. By the way Lee, I need you to tell me a little bit, how do you feel in space? It may be embarrassing not knowing what to do. Tony took Lee directly to the villa, asking questions as he walked. I don't feel like it, why don't I take you to try it next time? Forget it, I can't survive in space. You think everyone has the same physical body as you. How many times is your cell strength stronger than that of human beings? Or is it 3 times? By the way, you said that the cells and tissues of the people of Asgard, that is, the Aesir Protoss, are 3 times that of human beings, so how do they feel about gravity? What do you think? How about setting up a gravity training room? I suddenly thought of this. You said about the mechanics of gravity. It shouldn't be difficult for the 2 of us to work together. Gwen smiled as she watched Lee and Tony Stark leave shoulder to shoulder. Then he looked at Gwen. In the future, please take care of me. Okay, take care of my sister, my sister. Wanda looked at Gwen and didn't know how to address her. She thought that the other party was older than herself, so she tentatively called, sister. Sister. On the 4th day of being on the shelf, this chapter is exactly 200,000 words. Please ask for flowers, monthly tickets, and rewards. Please subscribe automatically. Although the update is the fastest batch of authors, I am keeping it. Under the premise of verifying the quality, never scribble to make up the number of words. Please support. Chapter 82 Integrate Superman, Super Saiyan is born. Thanks to Feng Feiyan for the monthly ticket. Advertise here. If you like Ai Li, you must work hard, his progress is too fast. If you can't keep up, you may be like me, often worrying about gains and losses, and under a lot of pressure. Gwen smiled when she heard her address, and liked it a little. Then he looked at Ai Li, who was going away, and suddenly spoke. Ah, no, I didn't, don't get me wrong. Wanda blushed suddenly. What did she like Ellie? Whoever said that the rich and talented are all created by high-cold people, it must be the lies of female fans. Tony Stark usually doesn't talk much, and even more so when he's doing research. But once we talk, it's really possible to say. Ai Li chatted with him about academic issues for hours. In the end, he really didn't want to talk anymore. This guy's thinking is too scattered, and I talked to you about the transmission of optics and the definition of substances absorbed by the human body last second. In the next second, you can jump from the development of nuclear fusion to the controllable situation of black hole development, and then to the utilization of thermonuclear reaction and cold fusion. For example, the nuclear fusion fuel he is currently studying can be derived from seawater and some light nuclei, and discusses the clean energy effect of nuclear fusion reaction on human beings. In the end, Tony even talked about theology and asked how Ai Li Asgard's theological power was born. Is it possible that the opponent's planet has a strong magnetic field and gravity changes, or that some specific minerals have radiated, causing their ancestors to mutate, causing the offspring to adapt and evolve into a naturally powerful existence? Don't say it, don't you really say it. What Tony said is very possible and reasonable. Even if he has not studied it, Ai Li can confirm that what he said is correct when communicating with him. 19. This is not the point. Ai Li is not someone who wants to be a scholar. He learns these things just to make himself stronger and understand more. He didn't intend to create a shapeshifting King Kong, nor did he want to use technology to dominate the universe. Otherwise, he will directly conduct research with Tony, and maybe within a few years he will be able to directly develop several generations of gods. It is not impossible to even produce a few fourth-generation genetic fighters. It's not feasible, because what Ai Li realizes at the beginning is the practice method of Saiyans, and it's wrong to follow the angel technology flow. Ai Li, who didn't want to chat anymore, withdrew decisively, while Tony could only turn around helplessly and continue to study the spaceship. Back to the bedroom, Ai Li also began to study her own physical problems. Since he came to this world, he has been developing on the path of Saiyan. To be honest, the strength of Saiyans is definitely one of the best. What is different from this world is the fighting style of Saiyans. The Marvel Universe, even another DC universe, has a variety of fighting methods. What magic, speed force, energy beam, mecha combat. Then to the legendary gods, the power of Thor, the power of the curse, the goddess of death, and the birth of various godheads. And Saiyan is very simple, one word. Gas. Chi is strengthening the physical body, improving one's combat effectiveness, and attaching to the surface of the body as a defense. The Qigong wave that condenses and turns into an attack appears inside the body. Back and forth are physical fights, fist-to-flesh close-range combat. After pulling away, use Qigong waves to bombard. Simple, very pure, but also the most direct. And today, Ai Li's breathing method suddenly appeared, the first solar breathing method, and the fixed star breathing method later. Suddenly he had another thought. Is it possible to get Superman's cultivation method out? Become the flesh of Superman, and then use the Saiyan cultivation method to become stronger. For Superman, it should be the most powerful Superman in the Silver Age, I remember. Ai Li recalled the Superman comics he had read. He is not a fan of Superman. Where did he read all the Superman comics? In his impression, it was the original Superman movie, and after watching it, out of curiosity, he searched for some information. Strong as the Silver Age Superman, with various bug abilities, hearing anything, anywhere, and any injury will quickly self-healing. Thermal vision evaporates and integrates any substance, and its super defense allows him to enter the core of the sun without being injured. Super breath can freeze opponents, create hurricanes, change the weather, and even blow out fixed star. A super sneeze is powerful enough to destroy the entire solar system. Super strength can move multiple planets. At one time, he pulled at least a dozen planets away from the black hole with his own power alone. Super speed. Beyond the speed of light, you can break the time barrier and travel to the past. How should I put it? Ai Li thinks this is a pervert. Moreover, it was a perverted character that the author wrote directly in order to satisfy an invincible existence. So later, in order to conform to some scientific principles, DC changed the Silver Superman into the Superman of the Bronze Age. In the Bronze Age, in order to make Superman scientifically normal, there appeared a Superman whose power comes from the yellow sun, and the red sun of Krypton will make Superman lose his power. So, Ai Li from the previous life was arguing with others. No, it is to discuss the degree of rigor with people, saying that as long as this Superman absorbs the power of the sun and becomes stronger, then he can only be the Superman of the Bronze Age, and then he does not have the data development of the Bank of China. He can hear sounds in the distance but not in interstellar distances. Super healing also requires the cells to store solar energy to recover, otherwise the wound will not heal. Others also have their own reductions and enhancements, but they certainly don't have the strength of Silver Dachau. To sum it up, a Superman who uses the sun to become stronger will not become a Silver Age Superman. As soon as this sentence came out, Ai Li at that time was sprayed. Give it a try, it doesn't do me any harm if I can integrate. Pipe. Quote. The Bronze Superman's strength is not weak. After I have found the cultivation method, if it is not enough, I can continue to comprehend it. Maybe I can reach the path of the Silver Superman. Super Saiyan evolution in coordination. Hey, I won't just smash this universe, right? OAA is a fart. For a moment Li fell into melancholy. He is so strong, what should he do in the future? After thinking wildly for a while, Li closed his eyes and tried to continue thinking about the evolution of the Bronze Superman. He needs to understand why it can be done and how to do it, so that he can create a practice method. His ability is heavenly comprehension. It's not thinking blindly against the sky. You have integrated your knowledge through the way of improving the fixed star breathing method, and successfully found the evolution theory of Superman in the Bronze Age. You have an epiphany. You have comprehended the Superman practice method. Superman practice method. According to the light plasma fixed star photon energy produced by fixed star, it can become your energy source and greatly evolve your cell strength and spiritual changes. 1. 3 days later, Li successfully found the way to evolve Superman. At this moment, he seemed to see the power of Superman beckoning to him. He has already felt some changes in himself before he started to evolve and practice. The intelligence of eyes and ears has reached a magical state, and the chirping of insects can be easily heard even kilometers away. In the line of sight, his naked eyes can directly pass through the wall in front of him and see the other side. Looking up, he can have a panoramic view of everything in the sky, and everything on the moon is under his gaze. Looking at each other, Li saw a person sitting on the moon looking at the earth, that is, looking at himself. Observer. Averting his eyes, he looked further away, but it may have just been used, and he can't see more. The evolution of strength can also be felt. With a fist clenched, you can already have 50% of the strength of a Saiyan without using the power of the Saiyan's Kai. This is still the power of Superman who has not been cultivated. It is really not easy. Li closed his eyes and began to study the exercises again. Superman's cultivation method is really powerful, but he didn't intend to walk a single path to death. He prefers Saiyans, don't ask why. Can he just like Monkey King? Can't he just like Kakarot? He just likes the white-haired Ultra Instinct and the super powerful Super Saiyan God. After all, that is the memory of watching the TV when I was a child, and it is the content that I have to watch even if I rent the disc. Compared with the persistence of Saiyans, Superman is really nothing. Even if Superman is very strong, who said that at the end of the day, Saiyans are weaker than Superman? Nothing is certain. Especially Li has found another way based on the effect of divine power. God of destruction, divine power, destruction, and at the end of the destruction, what Li wants to leave more is the existence of Quan Wong. So he has to keep improving. 7 days later, Li woke up again. Your understanding of Superman practice method has deepened, and you have integrated on the basis of Saiyan practice method, the practice of theory plus the mastery of Super Saiyan S cells. You have an epiphany, you have comprehended the Super Saiyan cultivation method. Super Saiyan training method, the integration of Superman training method and Saiyan training method, you have integrated the power of Superman on the basis of Super Saiyan. Your evolutionary path will be stronger. Saiyan, Saiyan Superman, no one can discuss all the names, and your existence does not need to be defined by names. On this road, you are the strongest existence. Feeling the changes in herself, Li raised an uncontrollable smile. But the name is really interesting. Super Saiyan. Wouldn't it be Super Saiyan to change the name, so my idea still wants to become the evolution of Saiyan. Take 2 characters on one side, Superman uses both characters, Saiyan uses the word Saiyan. The combined Super Saiyan is just right. Saiyan Superman is also okay, but there is always a salted egg Superman style. Forget it. Although the progress of the cultivation method is important, in the final analysis it is still the road to become stronger. The real strength is not outside, but inside. It is useless if the mind is not strong enough, so Li quickly began to adapt to his excitement, and then calmed down slowly. Saiyan plus Superman's boost. Perhaps. Li went to the outside world, felt the appearance of sunlight blessing his body, and then integrated countless photon energies. The next moment, Li entered the Super Saiyan stage again. With the first evolution, it will not be full of storms like the previous one. But what next? Li thought for a while, but he was still not in place. He was afraid of something going wrong, so he moved his body and rushed into the outer space of the atmosphere. At this time, his speed increased again, several times faster than before. Speed of light. Li thinks it should be, because he has not shown his full strength, but he has already felt the tearing of the space, as if everything around him has been torn off by him, and he cannot accept his existence. All the scenes began to become mysterious, distorted scenery, changing space colors. The moment Li stopped, he was already standing in space. Turning his head to look, he and the Earth. The distance is a bit exaggerated, I don't know how far it is, but I'm afraid it will take light years to calculate. Next, let's try it. Li began to condense her chi. He who has reached the Super Saiyan stage has 50 times the normal breath. If his fighting power was 10 million before entering the Super Saiyan last time, then it would be 500 million in Super Saiyan state. And during this period of time, his normal strength has once again increased, and it may be several times more than that without accidents, reaching the level of 20 to 30 million. So, by calculation, the combat power of my Super Saiyan level 1 is 1.5 billion. The chi in Li's whole body is gathering, he can feel the S cells in his body jumping up completely. The surrounding fixed star photons also attacked him, as if they regarded him as a second fixed star, and all of them merged into his body. Next second, countless lightning appeared around Ai Li's body. Even in space, these lightnings still exist, because they are not real lightning, but caused by the contact between chi and the outside world. Lightning lingered around his body, and the arrogance on his body changed from the original flame pattern to a device that seemed to be spraying upwards. Backquote. It's not over yet. It's not enough. The second stage of Super Saiyan, this is the second stage, I can feel that I haven't reached the limit yet. Ai Li's eyes are much sharper than before, saying a word I don't like very much now. Sharp. With Ai Li's continued strength, huge amounts of energy are completely released, and the high-pressure gas pushes away everything around. All the existences within 10,000 miles were pushed away by him, even the meteorites that were moving rapidly were shattered into dust in an instant. The jet-like gas of the second stage of the original Super Saiyan became larger again, and the arrogance also stagnated. It doesn't look like the shape of chi, but rather, it really becomes a solid body. Full power. At this time, Ai Li showed the power of Superman, combined in an instant. In the next second, his hair began to extend, and it slowly grew longer from its original size, until it reached his waist. The brow bone is lowered, and dark blue pupils appear in the original single light green eyes. The lightning around him also became denser. One shot, reached the full power of the third stage of Super Saiyan. Feeling the changes in himself, the most obvious thing is that besides the increase in combat power, his muscles also slightly swelled. Compared with the normal state when becoming a Super Saiyan level 1, Li Hao, the degree of expansion is smaller. Looking more like a perfect fit teenager now. The appearance of long hair is not as weird as imagined, but more sinister. Combat power. More than 5 times higher than the previous Super Saiyan stage. Under full power, I can maintain this level all the time, it is the effect of Superman. Ai Li has a premonition that even if he maintains this form all the time, it's not a problem. It's not like a Saiyan who will return to his normal state after transforming for a period of time. Because now he combines the attributes of Superman. As long as he absorbs the fixed star photon energy all the time, and then integrates the S cells and stores it, he can continuously provide this power. Mystic, Eternal Super Saiyan 3 full power. If you add divine power. Ai Li put his thoughts on Chun-Li again. Super Saiyan 3 is in full power state, his combat power has been reported, and now he should have completely entered the multi-universe level. But he is still not satisfied, because the role of divine power has not integrated into it. Destroy. Ai Li pointed to a distant planet in the galaxy with one finger, but what he imagined did not happen. It's still not enough. The level of understanding of divine power is not enough. I need to understand more types of divine power to understand the meaning of destruction. But you can't point your fingers in vain. Ai Li turned around and looked at the earth, the thoughts of chi flowed, and the perception of the whole earth's chi in his heart instantly. In the next moment, Ai Li's body disappeared in place. While leaving, Ai Li still pointed to the planet just now with one finger. He appeared in the backyard of the Earth Villa, and in the sky, a colorful explosion appeared. Just now, the distant little planet was directly shattered and dissipated by the energy of his finger. The divine power of destruction cannot be used, but a simple Qigong bullet is enough to directly destroy a planet at a super long distance. Chapter 83 Cosmic Journey, Playing Cannons in Space. Advertise here. What's wrong? Tony ran out in a hurry. Just now Jarvis told him that there is a large section of spectral energy transmitted to the Earth, the power is very huge. Tony ran out in a hurry and looked up at the sky. Huge amounts of explosion overwhelming. The flame-like color seemed unreal, red, blue, green, yellow. It looked as if a rainbow had suddenly rolled up. This scene is like a miracle, almost made many people who saw this scene think that it was a fairy descending from the Earth. A planet exploded. Ai Li replied. After observing it for a while, it seemed to be somewhat similar to the explosion of a planet he knew. Tony hasn't seen a planet exploding. But as a scientific scholar, I naturally thought about these contents and simulated them. Now it seems that my past simulation is indeed no problem. A good explosion is really inexplicable. A planet just disappeared, but it can't cause any fluctuations in the universe. Only an existence like ours can be regarded as a miracle. The distance between the Earth and the real starry sky is still too great. Tony couldn't help sighing that such events are rare in the universe. Those civilizations that have entered the planet's international travel for a long time must be familiar with this. But the people on the Earth descended to Earth as gods, and even knelt down to pray. It's ironic. But the Earth is coming soon. Tony thinks about his research. Everyone's research suddenly became more energetic. These days Ai Li is practicing, and he is not just a fish. Follow me. After solemnly speaking with Ai Li, he stepped into the villa. Wait for us. Gwen and Wanda also returned to the villa, and they hurried to catch up after hearing Tony's voice. Stark's research they've been waiting for. Today is finally going to reveal the true face of Lucian Mountain. I'm back. Ai Li smiled when he saw Gwen and the two of them. I have been practicing these days, but I really haven't contacted the other party, and I feel sorry for her. Gwen didn't care about these things, she liked the two of them together, and knowing that Ai Li had something to do, she definitely wouldn't bother her. What's more, Ai Li is looking for her safety, and the regiment is going to the outer space to find enemies. Leaning to the side and embracing Ai Li's arm, Gwen grinned at 917 and said. Wanda also followed closely behind, and wanted to come up to talk. It can be seen that Gwen is hugging his arm, consciously not moving forward, but silently following behind. Come on, Wanda. Gwen didn't seem to know anything, instead she pulled Wanda up and stayed by her side. Let me tell you, Wanda is very powerful, and her learning ability is very strong. In such a short period of time, I have already made up all the knowledge of the entire high school. Really, Ai was really surprised, she still has this learning ability. How long has it taken to achieve this step? It seems that it is indeed quite powerful. I used astral projection, learned. Wanda said awkwardly, a little embarrassed. After all, this method takes a lot more time than others. Astral projection means that the spirit body leaves the physical body, which is a kind of soul astral. In this state, your learning speed does not increase, but you can learn while your physical body is sleeping. And without fatigue, as long as you can continue to absorb knowledge, you can keep learning. That's good too. Astral projection is just an extra night. You are only 2 weeks now, and it's only 3 weeks. Such a short time. Think about it, Ai, it's really not easy, this guy. Then I was taken aback. You know how to astral project. Hiss. Ai suddenly understood, the real point is this. Astral projection is not some simple magic, she will use it now. It is worthy of being a talent that origin magic power has taken a fancy to, this ability strength. You say something to me, Gwen is free to interject. All of a sudden, the relationship between the three of them became closer again. Wanda didn't even feel that something was wrong at all, and successfully squeezed into the world of two people. It didn't take long to chat, and they arrived at the designated place in the elevator facing down from the villa. An underground base. Diagonally below the seawater, about 100 meters away from the outside, there is a big space inside. The hollowing out work is made by Ai Qigong Wave little by little. This is also the construction base of Tony Stark. When they got out of the elevator, they walked up a suspended steel cast passage. Walking to the center, a huge existence in front of him was covered by a curtain, concealing his appearance. Aid, JARVIS. With Tony's sound, several mechanical arms around him moved at the same time, and the curtain was torn off. In the next second, a huge amounts of spaceship was displayed. Mechanical domineering, the black appearance has the coldness of metal. Numerous weapon nozzles are leaking out like this, which shows that this spaceship is not a simple transportation device. The file size is suitable, there are 4 accommodation rooms, and the rest of the living area is fully furnished. Tony pointed to the spaceship and began to explain. Since we want to travel in space, we must not be able to reach full speed. The spacecraft is driven by photon sails, and absolute energy is not a problem. What is a photon sail? Wanda and Gwen asked with blinking eyes, which involved their blind spots in knowledge. That's the solar sail drive, and the metal on it is the solar sail. Ai pointed to the top. It has been wrapped there, and it can be opened directly when needed, and then turned into a large solar sail. It looks similar to a sail, but it is symmetrical on both sides of the spaceship. Yes, it can be brightened by collecting photons emitted by absorbing perseverance. Acceleration can be achieved by accumulating more. The photon refraction surface absorbs the photon, and then the speed. The basic speed is about 70% of the speed of light and cruises stably. Tony Stark nodded and continued to add, he couldn't help being proud when talking about speed. This speed was brought up by him by every means, according to their original assumption, it is at most 50% of the speed of light. It's so fast, if you can't stop when decelerating, you will crash into it. Gwen asked curiously. Acceleration is fine, but what if something slows you down? Isn't this the same braking distance as a car needs? If you want to stop at such a fast speed, I am afraid that this distance will break through the sky. HMPH. Tony smiled mysteriously, then moved away from his seat. Ai gave him a blank look, because this thing was researched by himself. And Tony was in charge of piecing his theory together into reality, so he let himself do it. At the tail of the spaceship, Ai pointed his finger there. JARVIS made a projection in front of their eyes in a very humane way, and then the holographic concept map of the spaceship appeared. Rotate a circle, and the structure of the tail is displayed instantly. The tail is the antimatter propulsion jet, and the circular one is the cooling agent, antimatter and nuclear fusion reactor. The two ends of the radiator will emit antimatter and nuclear fusion energy to slow down the spacecraft. The fastest deceleration distance. Enough for an instant. Hiss. Wanda didn't understand, but she didn't know it was serious. Anyway, it was very powerful. Anyway, it's worth her gasp for contributing to global warming. Report. I want to ask questions. Gwen raised her hand and said suddenly. Say. Ai gestured. I can't figure it out. How long will it take? Well, Tony turned his head and looked aside in embarrassment without explaining. Ai touched the tip of his nose. It sounds so awesome, but it's really embarrassing to talk about it. Taking the Earth as an example, you pick a planet that you know. You know what? Gwen looked at Wanda. I know one, it's called Centaur. Wanda remembered a science fiction book she had read, which said that Centaur was very far away from the Earth. The constellation Centaurus is very large, there is a galaxy we know called the Three Rivers Galaxy. About 4.4 light years from Earth, Tony explained. 4.4 light years, cruising at 70% of the speed of light, that's. Gwen began to count with his fingers. A few years. Ai couldn't help but replied. This melon has to be counted with fingers, this is the simplest math problem, right? But it's okay, at least Gwen didn't say that a light year is a unit of time. It's been so long, how many years have you been going? Gwen was startled suddenly. Calculated in this way, even if Ai Li is not going to that Sanhee galaxy, because other places. He's also looking for a destination, maybe going around in circles. Definitely not anymore. Ai Li smiled and stroked Gwen's hair. Several years. I'm afraid I'm crazy. My girlfriend on Earth is still there, Wanda still needs to be cultivated, and Kim still needs training. After a few years, the daylilies are cold for them. This is the main purpose of his formation this time, besides finding someone. Tony's face became serious, and then he looked at the spaceship behind him. He wants to improve the technology of the Earth. He wants to find a faster way, a more powerful flight, and a product that is more conducive to the breakthrough of the Earth. I'd look for life on the way, into civilizations in the universe, and ask them to borrow something. In fact, in the universe, our technology is still relatively low. The most important thing about the route of the galaxy is not something like ours with a constant speed of 70% of the speed of light. It's a space jump. Then when are you going to leave? Gwen was a little worried. Tomorrow. Go early and return early, and with my strength, as long as I find the destination, everything will become very fast. Ai Li's current chi can cover half of the solar system directly after turning on the full power Super Saiyan state. Speak the truth. Although it is not big compared to the universe, it is definitely enough. And he will keep improving. Tonight. No words all night. All live. As if knowing that Ai Li might be gone for a long time, Gwen can be said to be feeding like crazy. As long as Ai Li wants, she will satisfy. The next day, standing in front of the spaceship, Ai Li was about to bid farewell, but Gwen was a little helpless with pear blossoms and rain. And Wanda also looked worried, and finally stepped forward to say something careful. The group took the back and lost. I didn't expect you to start so soon. Don't worry, I will move faster. Jin Bing spoke seriously, and looked at Ai Li with a look of hegemony in his eyes. This is a small step for the people on Earth, but also a big step for his future. When you come back, the Earth will be full of your warriors. By the way, remember to bring the spaceship back. I think my subordinates may need this thing for transportation. Speaking of the last Jin and asked Ai Li, this spaceship looks like domineering. It's a pity to lose it. Stop saying a few words, you won't get the point out of talking so much. Vanessa spoke dissatisfiedly, and then spoke worriedly at Ai Li. Safe travels. Do not worry. Ai Li made a pledge and entered the spaceship. Welcome to take the JARVIS space flight. This voyage is the first interstellar flight on Earth, whether to start it or not. As soon as you enter, after the door is closed, the lights inside have already been turned on, and the warm colors will not make people feel uncomfortable after staying for a long time. The voice of JARVIS sounded, asking for Ai Li's opinion. Start it. Ai Li walked to the main control room, leaned towards the front center, and replied casually. Okay, I am the deputy captain of the space flight JARVIS. Welcome to the boarding of Captain Ai Li. Our journey begins. Well, everything is automated, you just look at it. Ai Li responded, JARVIS is an artificial intelligence. To be honest, sometimes it is more reliable than humans. Under his control, the ship is very free from Ai Li's worries about driving. He is mainly responsible for a general direction, and JARVIS will solve everything. Under the eyes of everyone, the spaceship started to start. The huge skylight above is opened, and there are several straight special metal baffles on both sides of the skylight, which directly divide the seawater. Then the spaceship directly ejected flames and flew straight upwards. Suddenly, an acceleration instantly disappeared in everyone's eyes. Ai Li walked around casually, not caring about the centrifugal force caused by the sudden acceleration. This made JARVIS, who originally wanted to remind him, take back his words and drove the spaceship silently. Half a month later, my mother. Ai Li is a bit bored staying in the training room. Although cultivation is boring, it won't make him uncomfortable, but it's not a problem to practice all day long. Moreover, it is too boring to cultivate like this in this vast universe. Unable to bear it, he walked to the captain's cabin. How is the neighborhood? Is there any special planet? Not yet. JARVIS replied. Upon hearing this, Ai Li decided to come by herself. After I stand on it, you stop spraying energy, but don't break. Yes. So he walked to the entrance of the spaceship, opened the hatch without saying a word. Huge amounts of suction hit instantly, sucking out all the surrounding unfixed things. Ai Li walked out unhurriedly and flew to the top of the spaceship, just standing on it. I remember. How did it happen? Ai Li recalled the approximate conversion method. The influence of academic background is very important. If you accidentally use too much power, it will be troublesome to destroy the spaceship directly. Super Saiyan full power. Open. In an instant, huge amounts of energy appeared on Ai Li's body, and the long hair fell down. Ai Li walked to the end and looked at the vast universe. Qigong. Wave. Chapter 84 at the beginning of the Avengers Alliance 1, became Ronan's friend. Advertise here. Huge amounts of flame spurts. It was as if his palm had become a new sun. He made the darkness of space become extremely bright all around him. At the same time, the spacecraft flew out instantly. JARVIS, it's your turn. Receive. JARVIS controls the propeller and accelerates suddenly. After the combination of the two, the speed is indeed faster than before. Speed improvements are secondary. The main reason is to be able to do a little pastime in this way, as entertainment to pass the time. At least it's better than staying silently in a spaceship, a lot. The only thing Ai Li regrets now is that he didn't add more entertainment facilities to the spaceship, a little. Such as a full set of games. Next time must remember. The improvement of the space gem, the importance of the mind gem to Wanda, the time gem is in my hands, what else? Soul gem. That thing is a bit troublesome and too metaphysical, so I won't use it for the time being. Reality gem seems to be useful, you can check his rule. Sitting on top of the spaceship. Traveling at a speed close to the speed of light is completely stress-free for Ai Li, and there is no need to worry about anything when staying here. If the speed is slightly slower, he will send out a Qigong wave to accelerate the spaceship. Pondering the importance of the currently known artifacts, infinite gems. Ai Li felt the need to collect it. Thanos collects gems and prepares to snap his fingers to the whole universe, so he collects them first, and he is still playing a fart. Take precautions. My lord, there is a problem ahead. In the universe, a group of standard spaceships were sailing, and suddenly a member of the waiting team in front reported information to the spaceship of the main ship. In the main ship, a leader wearing a warrior armor and a leather hood slowly opened his eyes after hearing the voice. FTE. Ronan the Accuser, ruler of the Kree Empire. People sent the nickname Supreme Accuser. Opening his eyes, he stomped a hammer several times bigger than Thor on the ground casually. The ripples spread out, and the huge amounts of coercion made the subordinates below all surprised and dare not move. What's the matter? Ronan's voice came out slowly. There is a spaceship sailing, and there is a person sitting on it, and it is constantly ejecting energy. It seems that you can use yourself as the power source of the spaceship. Oh, Ronan, who was surprised to hear this, was a little surprised, so he gestured. Soon there was a picture in front of him, which was the image of Ai Li sitting on the spaceship. Ronan looked at everything in the picture, his eyes jumped. He is a very knowledgeable existence, and he can see the point at once. Surviving in the universe, the ultra-fast flight did not let him out of the range of the spaceship, and the powerful energy beam jet even accelerated the speed of the spaceship. A strong man in the universe. But if that's the case, why did he accelerate the spaceship like this? Could it be? His spaceship technology has not evolved to the space singularity jump. It is a backward technological civilization. Is it originally a powerful fighting civilization? Come on, get ready for the banquet. After Ronan finished speaking, he had to prepare to let his spaceship approach the opponent. But at this moment, Ai Li in the picture seemed to have discovered something, and looked towards him with a surprised expression. Look at me. Ronan was taken aback. Don't look at how close the picture is, it's the spacecraft's capture system that found each other. In fact, the distance between the two sides is almost 1/5 of a light year away. Finally when Ronan saw the other party's surprised expression and was a little shocked. Suddenly, a lazy voice came from his hall. A figure suddenly appeared in the center, his appearance shocked everyone, subconsciously wanted to take it down. Ai Li just feels a little more relaxed. Most importantly, I finally saw people. The vast universe is really too exaggerated. Traveling at his speed for such a long time, he has not found a planet with life. No wonder there are no aliens passing by the Earth in the solar system. After all, in the entire solar system, except for the Earth, life exists on those planets, and those planets are still in the 9 great gods. Who was okay and ran over to this horned goda? Wait, Ronan stopped his men and looked at Ai Li with surprised eyes. A rare strong man, I don't know which star field you are from. You don't even know. Ai Li waved his hand casually. The solar system is still the name chosen by the people on Earth. Who knows what other civilizations in the universe call the solar system, and they don't know. Then he looked suspiciously at Ronan on the opposite side for a few seconds, and opened his mouth tentatively. Ronan, it's me. Ronan smiled in his heart. Look, this is fame. A strong man who has just entered the universe, who doesn't know the outside world at all, recognizes himself immediately. Doesn't this represent one's own position in the universe? Ai Li also laughed. Now it's much simpler. If you want to ask how to find a place in the universe that you don't know, the answer must be to find someone who may know this place. Ronan is a senior member of the Kree Empire. The other party may not have reached the top level of strength, but they have been lingering in the universe, doing business on the spot. He even has contact with Thanos and the others, which can be regarded as a relationship of surrender and cooperation at the same time. This kind of person is basically the door of the universe, and it is definitely no problem to find them if you have something to do. Ask the way, do you know the planet Ego? Egg. Ronan's face turned serious. If it's an ordinary planet, he might not immediately think of it. But Egg is different. It is a very strange place, there is no living thing around. The controller of that planet is also very powerful, even his large troops dare not provoke it at will. Most importantly, the planet is movable. In the past few hundred years, the opponent took the planet to fly in the universe several times, and then found some existences that provoked him, and directly took the planet to attack. The name of the controller on the planet is Yijie, so that planet is also called Yijie Star. Who are you, an Egg? Ronan was a little uncertain. I need to find him. Ai Li explained with a big smile, and then looked at Ronan with waiting eyes. Ronan began to think for a while. To tell him or not to tell. If such a strong person stays with me, establishes a good relationship and becomes a friend. His influence or strength may be able to go further. But this kind of existence will not arbitrarily attach to others. I can tell you the cosmic coordinates, but, my advantage. No problem, trust me, I will give you a satisfactory reward. Ai said decisively. People treat each other politely, so I can't force others to make things difficult for me. Since Ronan wants to use benefits in exchange, it's not impossible. In Ronan's expectant eyes, Ailee's anger slowly fell on the other party. Ronan felt a little strange when he felt the invisible layer on the surface of his body. What's the use? Do yourself a favor while fighting. Or, after I put my mark on you, I can know your information from a remote location. As long as you trigger this chi, then I can arrive at the first time. I'll help you once, anything. Don't worry, you will know that you are not at a loss. The stunned Ronan couldn't believe it, anything. Then if I have a conflict with Thanos and I call you to help, can you kill Thanos? But this kind of thing is just thinking about it. Followed by a smile, what's the big deal? I just gave a left mark, no loss at all. And it doesn't matter to him whether what the other party says is true or not. Make friends, it's normal in the universe. Definitely, what Ronan cares about is the opponent's strength, if he is weak, how to make friends. Now the other party should kneel in front of me and wait for my own trial. All friendship or interests are based on the premise of strength. Under Ronan's signal, a subordinate brought an interstellar coordinate map. This is a small ball. As long as it is opened, an interstellar map will appear. It is not big, it is just a map of a few nearby galaxies. No matter how far away, I didn't give it to Ailee. Because the smaller interstellar map is not expensive, you can buy it in the ordinary trading market, but if the big one. The price is not increased according to the multiplier, but the price increased geometrically. Thanks. Ailee was very satisfied with getting the things, and was about to leave after holding them in his hands. But before leaving, I suddenly remembered something, turned around and asked. Where are you going now? Are you going to find the power gem? Ronan's face instantly became serious, this time he thought something was wrong. This guy is obviously backward in technology and has just entered the universe, but he knows the power gem. Well, I know a lot, but let me remind you that the power of the power gem is not that simple, and you don't want to accept what Thanos will do in the end. And, how should I put it, your journey to find the power gem this time may not be so easy. In this way, Ailee suddenly remembered that according to the plot of Guardians of Galaxy, the other party did not end well. I think we may meet soon, see you then. The teleportation disappeared, Ailee returned to the spaceship, put the spirit ball map on the console of JARVIS. Several mechanical arms were operated, and the open star map showed their positions and the end marks of their destinations. Set off. The distance is not far, within light years is good news. The JARVIS marched again, Ailee was taken aback. I forgot to ask for a spaceship, their spaceship will definitely be able to space jump. Forget it, there is still a chance to meet later. It doesn't matter, we can meet anyway. Take it next time. I hope that I will be reformed instead of directly changing me. The voice of JARVIS sounded, obviously hearing Ailee's plan to change the spaceship. No problem, but the name will have to be changed at that time. Although JARVIS is suitable, I always feel that the captain is Tony Stark. Ailee replied. No, the captain is JARVIS. He dared to provoke the great Lord Ronan, should he directly attack and destroy his spaceship. 0. Ask for flowers. After Ailee left, a subordinate saw Ronan who was not moving, and hurriedly showed himself and proposed to speak. Ronan also fell into the words of Ailee. The two met for the first time, but Ronan always felt that the other party would not lie to him. And, what is Thanos using the gem for? Become stronger. Luo Nanju. Something is really wrong. Then he looked at the subordinate who had just spoken, but did not speak. Hey. The subordinate was still cheerful. Boom. Ronan pointed a hammer at him, and the black light shot out and landed on him directly. The opponent was disintegrated in an instant, and his vital signs completely disappeared. Do you want to destroy the relationship between me and Ailee? After saying something disdainful, Ronan looked at the trace of Ailee's spaceship going away in the picture. Beat it down. After defeating the spaceship, the opponent will not die. And what good would it do him to offend a strong man? Teleportation, it's a bit powerful. Ronan was shocked when he thought about the way Ailee moved just now. Ronan doesn't know that the whole universe can move instantly. Teleportation is also progressing well. Now, in addition to simply using other people's chi to teleport, you can store your own chi in one place and use it as a marker to teleport. Ailee sat in the spaceship and began to study his auxiliary ability. Things like teleportation, super hearing, and flight speed are all things he wants to improve. At the beginning of teleportation, you must find a strong chi, and then determine the location to instantly shuttle to the opponent's location. Now a little bit of strengthening, accompanied by practice. Today you can do that with markers. But he still doesn't think it's enough. The real teleportation is where you want to go, just like Mundo. 0. Every location in the entire universe can be whatever you want. Just like Angel Weiss's ability, instantly perceive the entire universe, and then go where you want to go. Difficult, because Vesna can perceive the entire universe in his own mind. Ailee did not intend to do this step at once. But he wants to do whatever he wants within the position he can perceive. For example, if she already knew the location of Yijie, as long as her chi could reach her, she could go there directly, without the requirement of chi. Maybe, the space rule of the space gem can help me. To improve teleportation, simple comprehension practice is not enough, he needs to use space gem to improve. With the space gem, it will definitely be much more convenient to study the existence necessity of space. After all, the time rule of time gem has made it easy for him to do many things. As for the comprehension of time, Lee has never stopped. Where is the space gem now? Lee recalled the Marvel plot. He remembered that it was Nick Fury who studied the space gem, and was snatched away by Loki, opened the space channel, and started the plot of Avengers Alliance. What about the front? Looks like a cat spit it out. Essence-devouring beast. Lee thought of the cat next to Nick Fury, and then recalled that it was a Yuan devourer. The Yuan devourer devoured the space gem and spit it out at this point, which Nick Fury started working on. Don't wait for me to get home, the story of Avengers Alliance is over. No, let's join in the fun. Quickly deal with Egg and go home, don't waste time here. JARVIS, full speed ahead. Yes, please fasten your seat belts, Captain JARVIS, full speed. Earth, is this thing awesome? Jin Bin looked at the blue Rubik's Cube in front of him, feeling a little uncertain. It looks very frightening, the blue light shines, as if there is a mysterious power. But his chi perception couldn't be attached to it, and he couldn't find the power inside it at all. Be careful, this thing will kill Deadman if you accidentally touch it. Nick Fury is a one-eyed dragon, but his hand speed is not bad. When I saw Jin and wanted to touch it, I hurriedly blocked it, and then began to tell the importance of this thing. But, what do you mean by bringing such an important thing here? Jin looked at him suspiciously. Isn't it because you have a good base here, and you can rest assured when doing research here? Nick Fury is a little embarrassed, he is really not sure if the person around him is Hydra. The Yuan devourer suddenly spit out the tesseract startled him. He rushed out with him, for fear of being seen by HYDRA's undercover agents. But anyone who can help with the research in the remaining positions is unreliable. So I can only come to Jinbin here. You can do whatever you want, then you can figure it out, I'm not interested. Kim waved and taught Nick Fury the base. He is busy training Qi, and he also needs to study the Jinbing Qigong wave, so he doesn't care about this. Loki, give you a chance, go to Earth and help me get back the Tesseract. In the distant universe, on a dead star, Thanos looked at the second prince of Asgard in front of him who wanted to ask him for help, and smiled disdainfully. Yes, the great Lord Thanos. Loki smiled evilly, and finally met a powerful existence. Lee, let's see if you die this time. I want to avenge my brother Fan. Chapter 85 Super Saiyan God Cultivation Method, Igo explodes. Advertise here. It should be here. Looking at a single planet in the galaxy in front of me, Lee's chi came here. In his perception, the whole planet has a strong chi. As if the planet was originally a living creature. There's a lot of chi on this too, most of which are extremely weak. It's like those Esir Protoss in a coma state, without self-awareness. And the chi of one of them is very similar to this planet. Egg, it should be him. Lee hates this person very much now. To be honest, this was the first existence that he particularly disliked. The entire Marvel universe, even if Hydra Lee doesn't like it, it won't be like it is now. Reason. It is because he has sailed in the universe for so long, just for this reason. This feeling is like the 6 major factions in Jin Yong's universe besieging Guangmingding. That is really getting more and more angry. It has been a full week since we separated from Ronan. This week has been on the road without stopping. If it wasn't for this force, why did it come to this? You came. While Lee was still lamenting this, the distance between the spaceship and the planet Yigo was getting closer and closer. He did not choose to land, but was suspended in the left and right positions of the atmosphere. At the same time, a projection appeared ahead. The appearance is exactly what Egg looked like when he was on Earth. The other party looks like a gentleman, very polite with a frown and a smile. But the next words really left Lee speechless. A very powerful existence, you should be the strongest person I have ever seen among human beings. How about it, has perception reached its upper limit on Earth? Choose to evolve like me, as long as we evolve in this universe, we will become the most powerful existence. I have traveled thousands of miles to come here, and I feel your sincerity. Kill everyone on the Earth, and I will recommend you to join the elders of the universe. Let's join forces with 067. Stretching out one hand, the gentleman extended an invitation to Lee. His current appearance seems to be an invitation from Lawyer Zhang Wei. Lee was taken aback for a while. I ran so far, do you think I came to ask you to join me? Why do you think I'm here to join you? Lee couldn't help asking, this person's brain circuit is different. Did it never think that it was here to kill him? No one can deny eternal life. Egg smiled confidently, this was the reason for his confidence. And the more powerful people care about this, the more they want to live longer. Weak people will only condemn the injustice of this world. I just want to end it soon. If there is a next life, they will hope to have a good birth in the next life. If there is no next life, they will want to end their miserable game life early. And only a powerful existence can understand the importance of the continuation of life. Know how great the temptation of eternal life is. The strength of Lee made Yi Jie recognize his strength. The goal is only immortality. A boring idea. Lee didn't think this was a good thing. Living is naturally important, everyone wants to live forever, but the premise is meaningful. If there is no battle, no interesting life, no suitable goals, immortality is just living. Besides, there is no need for Lee to be so entangled. He also has a way of immortality, and there is no need for Yi Jie's method. Is it boring? It's just that you haven't understood yet. Egg didn't care. Do you think my method is not good? You don't need to think that way. I can help you. At this time, Yi Jie suddenly moved his body, changing from his original fat body. In the first moment, she turned into an elegant beauty, who looked somewhat similar to the long-legged Europeans on the earth. Not only are the legs long, but they are also protruding forward and backward, and they are very exaggerated. It's like a foreign game that Mr. X played when he was traveling in Europe. There are big ocean horses in it. Dislike. Seeing that Ai Li didn't respond, Yi Jie frowned. Then there was another change. His body transformed again and turned into a girl in the shape of a loli. K clothes on the upper body, knee socks on the lower body, and a pair of black leather princess shoes on the feet, bright. You don't like this, brother. Seeing Ai Li, whose brows became deeper, Yi Jie was a little surprised. Is this not enough? Loli's voice slowly changed. Finally, the timbre has become a mature female style, with the feeling of a big sister. Wouldn't you like it that way? The white tights with hooked crotch on the top completely reveal the waist. The ultra-short pleated leather skirt on the lower body, and 1 centimeter above it is 404 books. The most important thing is to wear a pair of black stockings at the bottom, extending to the thigh position. The cropped socks are neither long nor short. And the oil on it is shiny, as if olive oil was poured directly on it. You don't feel that. Egg didn't understand. He spent some time on Earth with duplication. No matter what type of woman he has seen, and the 3 he chose this time are absolutely stunning faces. Perfectly fits the desires of Earth men. But Ai Li was indifferent. Suddenly Egg's eyes lit up. Do you like men? After speaking, his body turned into an image of a muscular man, and when he lifted his hands above, the hormones of a mature man were extremely shocked. So you, go to hell with me. Ai Li couldn't take it anymore. This kind of guy doesn't give people time to slow down at all. He still wanted to ask something, but this guy's attitude really made him unbearable. One transformation after another is overwhelming. What are you kidding? Woman Ai Li definitely likes. But the problem is, you are a man. You change from a man to a woman and ask yourself if you like it. If you like it, there is no problem. Qigong waves shoot out directly from Ai Li's hands. Huge amounts of explosions exploded on Egg's body. The instant eruption caused chaos all around, and Yi Jie's body was also blown into fly ash. Don't think that you can be unscrupulous no matter how powerful you are. Earthlings, you are still reptiles in the universe. I gave you a chance, but you didn't use it. Egg's body was broken, but in fact it was just a duplication. The moment the duplication shattered, the entire Yigo planet facing him turned into a face that opened its mouth to Ai Li. Give you one last chance to fuse with me, and the child you give birth will become our inheritance. At that time, I guarantee that you will have an endless lifespan. Ai Li frowned, blue veins popped out from above. Forget it. What kind of god group? Holy gods and the like don't matter, destroy it. Ai Li is no longer going to ask, it's pointless. Although this information is somewhat useful, the big deal is to call all the way there. Spending too much time with this kind of guy really makes him a little uncomfortable. Boom. Huge amounts of energy emanating from Ai Li's body. In an instant he entered the stage of Super Saiyan. It's not over yet. Continue to break through. Super 2, Super. Super Saiyan full power mode on. The spaceship controlled by JARVIS found something was wrong, turned around and ran straight away, and left. And the lightning that appeared on Ai Li's body actually scattered towards the surroundings in the universe. Huge amounts of chi emerged in the shape of flames on the surface of his body. The hair has grown to the waist position, and there is no wind automatically, slowly shaking and floating in space. What are you up to? This was the first time Yi Jie felt the power of Dao Ai Li, and he realized something was wrong in an instant. The power of the other party surpassed what he knew too much. This guy's strength is not that of an earthling. No. Even with Yi Jie's tens of millions of years of experience in the universe, he never felt such pressure on a human being. Only that exists. Those who exist in such a body have this kind of power that can block the sky and almost collapse the universe. But why? Why? How do you have such power? This does not conform to the rules of this universe. Egg doesn't understand that the power of this universe has rules. After reaching a certain level of strength, only by relying on the existence of objects can we continue to transcend. Or you can find a rule that suits you, and use the power of the rule to enter the realm of God. Then you get to the so-called multi-universe level. But Ai Li can't feel any rules, no God's will. But Ai Li's physical strength and the energy contained in his body are far beyond ordinary existence. Egg could only admit, at this point he started to panic a bit. Wait, what do you like? I promise I can satisfy you as long as you like. Any image, no, even any species I can do. My duplication can also change, 10 is not enough, 100. I can also. When Ai Li heard such a way of begging for mercy, his brain became congested instantly. I can go to your uncle. What does this guy think of himself? Qigong wave. Huge amounts of energy are gathered in the palm of Ai Li, it is really almost the basic energy he can use. No matter how big it is, he is afraid that everything around him will be destroyed. Powerful energy plus now he has entered the stage of Super Saiyan, the integration of Superman and Saiyan. The Qigong wave he uses is in addition to the power of Qi. There is also the existence of this photon energy, once the power of spectrum explodes completely. The huge amounts of energy will directly set off the power of nuclear fusion. At that point, the generation of black holes will happen every minute. It will even pull this piece of universe into it. Therefore, almost the same power is enough, and because it is not needed. The powerful Qigong wave hit Yiji's planet in an instant. The picture of the explosion is like the scattering of fixed star. The sudden fireworks are like the lights of the universe. The whole galaxy took notice of the picture. Qigong bomb. Boom, 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 trance. After a Qigong wave, Li shot again. This time he stretched out all his hands, aiming at the position where the planet exploded, bombarding continuously. Countless rounds of instant Qigong bullets are fired non-stop like bullets, 120 shots per minute with one hand. 5 minutes later, Li felt that the qi in his body had decreased by 1%. Only then slowly stopped 0. Excellent. Have fun. Li withdrew her hand in satisfaction, waiting for the afterglow of the explosion to end. To be honest, he's okay. Bei pretended to be aggressive here today, and then slapped the opponent in the face. Finally, I'm pressing for information. But Egg is not a person, he is so out of tune. Directly forced him to the state of berserk. In fact, Li has wronged Yi Jie. Yi Jie is not a person at all, he has no so-called emotional character at all, and he does not have etiquette, justice, and shame. All he needs is what he lacks, and interests come first. Therefore, what seems extremely disgusting to Li is not a problem in Yi Jie's heart. Is this supposed to be racial segregation? The smoke slowly dissipated, and the ending of the planet was revealed. The entire planet was originally about the size of the moon, but now only the core of basketball file size is left. Everything around was completely crushed, and those gravels were also turned into dust under the explosion of Li's follow-up Qigong bomb. Scattered in space, lost its shape. You bastard. Guy. The core of the basketball file size was still able to speak at this time, but he cursed at Li while dying. Li raises his hand to give him another shot. But after the energy is gathered, the core has completely quieted down. Li took a closer look, it was gone. Yi Jie is over. Li can also be regarded as a solution to a potential enemy who caused trouble. He is not afraid of that kind of powerful existence, the worst thing is to do it. But people like Yi Jie are the most troublesome. She likes to do things behind her back, and she has duplication, and never moves out of her body. To deal with this kind of person, you have to kill him in the opponent's hometown once and for all, until you kill him, leaving no future troubles. As soon as Li reached out and held the core in his hand. Although Yi Jie's consciousness disappeared, he didn't actually die, but fell into the most primitive state, the mental body. Holding it in his hand, he can still feel the divine power in the Tao. Yes, Egg is a god too. But unlike Asgard, Odin and Thor gods, but the gods of the celestial group. Holy God group, this is a nice name, it should be the universe god group. Their strength is very strong. If the power of infinite gems is infinite, then the power of the celestial group is the next level of exceeding limits. Mysterious and mysterious power. They have no specific form, they are actually the ideal life forms, at the birth of the universe. Their bodies are extremely huge, inside of which is the existence of a group of ideas, and the way to expand their spirits is their bodies. On the outside, they wear armor that can protect their mental bodies from being attacked, which is a way of displaying the technology of gods. This kind of mental body is on the earth, and many people like to call it dark matter or dark energy, which is more like a collection of collisions between positive and negative energies. But in the universe, no matter what race it is, there will be a day of darkness, and the celestial group is no exception. A race corresponding to them, the observer, exploded with incredible scientific power, and their technology was countless years ahead. Therefore, the celestial group held the power gem against their observers, but suffered a 0.5 backlash. In the end, it ended hastily and dispersed by itself. Some turned into corpses, some died slowly, and some hid away and have not appeared until now. I don't know in which dimension they are quietly preparing to make a move. And Egg was one of them. But what is interesting about him is that he wants to live forever after his self-awareness emerges, and turns the matter around him into a new planet. Then spread the seeds in the universe in an attempt to conquer the world. And this core is the core of Yi Jie when he was a member of the celestial group, that is, the essence left behind when his mind-body was transformed into a planetary body. Holding this thing, Li can feel a divine power from inside, a very subtle power. Purer and stronger than the gods of Thor and Mephisto. Surprisingly, what Li lacks most now is divine power. This will give him a more thorough control over divine power. The strength of the finishing touch may be improved this time. Not wanting to waste time, he sat cross-legged on the spot. You can survive in the universe, there is no need to find a place to stay. What's more, this kind of place is more suitable for him to comprehend, because he doesn't have to worry about his own power overflowing and something bad will happen. If it is on the earth, the power that flows out accidentally may cause a crisis on the entire surface of the earth. At his level of power, a single release of power can set off a storm. A single violence can cause lightning and thunder, and cause the ground to tremble. The universe has no time, and space has no time. Li doesn't know how long has passed, there is no rising and setting of the sun here. Can only rely on his mastery of time to judge. Perhaps, not appropriate. You have mastered the divine power to a certain extent, you have found the method of using the divine power and the concept of its essence. You have an epiphany. You have comprehended the Super Saiyan God cultivation. Law. Close black lens bracket.